And here we are.
Number 80 is in the house. We are on a whole round number
Yes.
of 8 and 0.
That is a round number.
That is...
It's one of the roundest numbers.
It is so round.
Like,
isn't
other
it?
than 00, it's like the roundest number you can have.
You're right.
An 8 is round. A 0 is round.
8 is the roundest number that you'll ever see.
I guess.
Except for 0. I guess I should have sang 0. But yeah, number 80, Chris. We are on our way to 100.
Yeah.
100 episodes, 100 weeks in a row.
What are we going to do for our 100th episode?
Get a cake. Remember we said we were going
yeah.
to get a cake for 50, I think?
And then we didn't.
And we didn't get a cake, and then we told all of you we would still get a cake for some reason.
When is our 100th? That'll be like
20
sometime this fall, right?
20 weeks from today.
How many weeks is a week? How many weeks are in a month? 4.
Okay, 4. Yeah.
How many 4s are in 20?
5.
5 4s in 20. So 5 months from now.
5 months from today.
So July, August, September, October, sometime around November. A little before that, actually.
So right at the end,
October.
like Halloween-ish?
October.
October. I believe that's a German month.
Yeah. The Germanist of
A lot
months.
of H's in that. October.
There's
That's not
actually
German.
no There's no H's in it.
Right, but if you were German, there would be. Wouldn't there be?
Yeah.
Because they say everything with an H in it, right?
Yeah. Except for strudel.
Oh,
Strudel.
Strudel.
And
Wait.
Hefeweizen.
So
That
good.
has an H in it.
That's so good.
It's a good beer.
Really is.
They drink their beer
Hefeweizen.
warm over there.
You know they do, and I don't get it.
Oh, I do get it because it's delicious.
Really?
Yeah, not to drink beer here warm, not delicious. Beer there warm it's not warm. It's like room temperature first.
Right. I like everything
It's
room
actually
temperature. I'm a room temperature guy when it comes to especially water. Everybody always chastises me about leaving water out and just drinking water out of the bottle in the room. Like, no, you got to put it in the fridge. Why aren't you putting these bottles of water in the fridge? I don't like it cold. I don't want it that cold.
You want to know something crazy? I 100% agree with you.
Really?
I like room temperature beverages as well.
Really?
I
did not know this about you.
I like a glass of ice water,
I'm not a
but I have no problem with a bottle of room temperature water.
I prefer it. It's better for you.
It is. I read something once that your body takes it in better if it's,
And it can throw you into shock if you are overheated and you drink super cold water. It can put you into...
Is that true?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
I'm shocked.
You could be. You could be legitimately shocked.
Well, I don't know about your pseudoscience there, but I'll take your word for it.
If anybody is suffering from a mild form of heat stroke, the first thing they tell you not to do is dump cold water on them because it'll throw you into shock. Your body does not like that, cold of water.
The first thing I would do is dump cold water on them for sure.
It's a wrong thing to do, Mr. First Responder.
Well,
You were a first responder.
that doesn't mean I knew everything.
Obviously. You've just proved it.
One time, and this was prior to my first responderdom,
Dumb.
but I had an employee that on the very first day of work went into a diabetic coma. Not coma, but like a diabetic attack. Right?
Are you serious?
Yeah, in the backseat of the truck, and we were at a nursery picking up trees, and he's completely gone out of it, and I could tell he was trying to grab for something in his lunchbox cooler. So I open up
EpiPen.
I open it up, and there's one of those insulin pens in there,
Okay.
the
Shot
measured
it
dose
straight
ones.
in his neck.
So I stab him in the arm, and I couldn't figure out how to work it right. So I did it 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
Because I don't think I did it right the first couple times.
Yeah.
Anyway, didn't work. So I called the ambulance. The ambulance came, and the guy's like, "No, his blood sugar is low. You're not supposed to give him insulin. You're supposed to." He was probably reaching for the Gatorade.
Oh.
And I'm like, "Well, I stuck him a bunch, so I don't know if that's gonna kill him or not." And he's like, he looked at the thing. He's like, "I don't think you actually dispensed any insulin because you totally did it wrong." And I'm like, "That's good." He's
That's
like,
a
"That is
good
good
thing.
because that would have killed him."
Really? It
Well,
would have.
I don't know if it would have killed him, but he did
Because
say it would have been
insulin
bad.
is to lower your blood sugar. It's to
Right.
balance
It's to lower your blood sugar.
the glucose in your blood.
Right. And
So
he already had low blood sugar. So I would have lowered
Right.
it further or prevented it from rising.
So that you were murdering him, trying to.
Well, no, I mean murder. There's
No,
intent behind murder.
Right.
It might have been manslaughter.
And you had absolute intent, it sounds like.
No, it might have been a manslaughter situation, but
Okay. Doesn't that sound so much worse? Manslaughter? I would rather you say murder than manslaughter.
How is that a word?
Manslaughter.
That is used in a legal context.
Right.
You, sir, are accused of manslaughter.
Say it backwards. Say it.
Slaughterman.
Yeah.
You are an accused slaughterman.
That would be so bad.
That is terrible.
I don't want to slaughter anything.
And the thing is, it's like a lesser charge. Because it
It
could be accidental or whatever.
Right. Right.
Like sometimes you don't even get jail time for manslaughter, right?
Can any of our lawyer friends that listen to the podcast, if you're out there,
I do have a lawyer friend that listens to the podcast.
okay, fill us in on this. Like, who came up with slaughter as being a lesser charge than murder?
And
Because if you think of like a slaughtered body, I think of Predator.
Yeah.
You know, like him skinning humans and hanging them from trees, and then like just an eviscerated body.
And then, while our lawyer friends out there,
Yeah.
if we have any listeners that are, what's the people that like talk about language, like the etymologists? Etymologists?
No, entomologists
No,
are.
etymologists. I believe
I don't even think that's a real thing. It doesn't sound like a real thing. Etymologist, wouldn't it be in like an audiologist?
Etymology is the study of the origin of words.
Right, which is what I just told you.
So an etymologist.
Right.
That's what I said.
That's what I just told you, Chris.
All right. If anybody is an etymologist out there, could you please explain how they put an S in front of the word laughter to get the word slaughter?
Oh, my gosh, you're right.
They're so close.
I have never thought of that.
Somebody created these words, right? At
Yeah,
some point,
absolutely.
these words were all created. So somebody's like, we need a word to describe a gruesome scene.
Yeah.
What's that word when everybody's happy? Laughter?
Oh, let's
Let's put an S on front
put
of
an
it.
S on it, and then not pronounce it the same way.
And not pronounce it slaughter.
You, my friend, have been charged with manslaughter.
Man's laughter is literally manslaughter.
You're right.
Listen to that man's laughter. You could really get in some trouble.
Wow. We're digging deep on this manslaughter
Hey,
thing,
let's
but
go out and commit some man's laughter. And then somebody else is like, if you write in a text, they're like, let's go out and commit some manslaughter.
manslaughter? What? Is he a murderer? No, he's lesser than as a manslaughterer. Apparently, because, I mean, when you talk about, I mean, people say slaughterhouse, like like butchering things
Yeah.
is a slaughterhouse for animals. That's when you completely dismember their bodies and break them up into meat for us to eat. How is that lesser than murder? You've already committed the murder and went like 6 steps further to slaughter them.
Right. I don't know. It's so weird. Where do
Wow.
words like come from? Like, how does that happen?
Well,
they
it
just-
comes from ancient origins, of course.
Well, not all words, but
Everything.
okay. But at the beginning, somebody just made up a word. That's the thing that's crazy. And then
Like-
everybody's like, hey, check out this word.
Fork.
Use this word.
Yeah. It's like, hey, look at this thing. That's why I don't feel like the Little Mermaid was really that far off. You know,
It's
it's
not.
just,
Yeah.
it was just in different contexts. She was using wrong words, obviously, like a dinglehopper.
Yeah.
I'm going to call this a dinglehopper.
Look at
they
this
could have.
stuff. What could it be? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
What's that song
we
called?
we mixed lines there. I don't know.
It's look at this stuff.
Isn't it neat?
Not kiss the girl. Come
No.
on.
Yeah. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think
my collection's complete?
Wouldn't you think I'm a girl who has everything?
I've got who's it's and what's it's and something.
No, I've got who's it's and what's it's. Oh shoot!
And then something and something galore.
Yeah. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20.
But who cares?
No big deal.
I want
More.
I wanna be where the people are.
I wanna be, or I wanna see. I wanna see 'em dancing,
Walking around on those. What do you call them? Feet.
Yeah,
But right there, it should be legs.
feet.
Because it does.
Yeah.
Legs like somehow rhymes better than feet. Feet always throws me off in that song. I'm like, feet? Why don't you just say legs?
Legs.
It's a more poetic word than feet.
I kind of
Feet is
agree
just
with you.
like feet.
It's very harsh. It
Yes,
like
it's
ends.
like German.
Yeah, it is. Feet.
I
don't know why. Get all of you.
But legs is
Austrian.
just like legs.
It would. Yeah, you're right. It is a little more. It's like a softer word.
Yeah.
That would go better in that.
Like walking around on those. What do you call them?
Legs. Yeah, that would be good. Oh,
I watched The Little Mermaid the other day, and I mean, I definitely saw it when I was a kid, but I can't remember in my adult life ever. I've seen the plays and stuff, and I've seen parts of it at Disney World and
Sure.
stuff. There's a lot of shows. Whenever they built Disney World, like they expanded that place greatly at the moment Little Mermaid came out, because that whole freaking place is Little Mermaid heaven.
really? I guess I didn't realize
understand
this.
Little Mermaid was this popular. But if you go to Disney World, it's like everywhere, man. And I'm like, come on, nobody gives a shit about Little Mermaid. It's a terrible movie.
It's not that good.
It's really bad. And I rewatched it. That's why I was bringing this up. My daughter wanted to watch it. We watched it. And it is a terrible story and a terrible message.
I know. We've talked about this before on Eaten by a Whale, I believe. The episode that gets all the listens.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't listened to episode 41, Eaten by a Whale, you should, because everyone else does.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have no idea what the appeal is of this one episode, but it constantly is picking up listens. But anyway,
This 16-year-old girl,
yeah.
like,
We talked about this.
based
Like,
solely on looks of seeing this dude,
Is
is
going
like,
to sell
I'm going to
herself
give away my
my
entire
voice.
life, my family, everything I've known. Screw it all.
rip my voice box out. I just want to be
Sell
with
my
this
soul
man.
to the devil.
And like I said,
She doesn't even know the guy.
they could have been China, like from China, whalers, like a whaling ship. And they could have just scooped her up in a net and eaten her for sushi. Like, wouldn't you eat mermaid sushi? I probably would. All sushi's
I
good.
don't know, man. They're like part human.
Well, you only eat the tail.
Do you think there ever was mermaids?
You only eat the tail. Do you remember that whole documentary on Discovery Channel that got people like fooled that there really was mermaids?
No, I don't.
Oh yeah.
So mermaids were manatees, right? That's what they,
Yes.
or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. I believe it was manatees.
Okay, but here's my point. If you saw a manatee now, even hazily, you would never assume that it was a mermaid, correct?
I mean, no,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
So
But we
are we to
are-
believe that people were that stupid back then that they seen a manatee and they're like, oh my gosh, a merman?
Yeah, I guess I don't
But they
know.
couldn't be stupid. They circumnavigated the globe by the stars
They did.
with instruments that most people alive
Can't
now
use right
can't
now.
even use.
No.
So they were not stupid people, but they believed that manatees were mermaids. Fools, I tell you.
Yeah, fools, absolute fools. I believe it's basically from writing. So I think they just wrote stories.
It's that Hans Christian Andersen.
It always is.
It's always him. It's him or Aesop or some damn fool.
Aesop. Who's Aesop?
Aesop's Fables,
Oh yeah, Aesop's.
like the tortoise and the hare is one of them, I think.
That, honestly, I think that's where it could originate from, though, is somebody fabricating a story talking about these animals and then depicting them as half man, half human. I don't know if that's true. I completely made that up. But
I think it probably is one of those things where
I
it's
think it was
the
like an
game of telephone.
embellishment.
Yeah, for sure. Hans Christian Andersen did write The Little Mermaid. He's a Danish author.
Oh my gosh. That
Yeah,
was such
in
a good pull.
1837.
No way.
Yeah. Did you know you could make a Little Mermaid movie tomorrow? But me and you can write a Little Mermaid book. We could make a comic. We could make a movie. It's public domain, man.
It is?
Of course, it was
Little
done in
Mermaids?
1837.
Well, I would have figured Disney would have bought it up at some point.
You can't.
Why?
No, it's too old.
That's not true.
Yeah, the copyright law is only for like 100 years or 99 years or whatever it is. It's public domain, man.
I thought the copyright law was like for if you bought the property, you owned it. You could own it up to a certain amount of time.
Yeah, but that would have been long gone by now, even if they did. They didn't, though. They don't own it. Nobody owns it. Now,
So it's just out there.
if you did Sebastian, you're fucked.
Why?
Because Disney owns Sebastian. They created Sebastian. That wasn't in no Hans Christian Andersen. There was no reggae crab.
How do you know
Singing,
so much?
"Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be so bo-bo-bo-bo-bo." That didn't exist.
kiss that girl?
Ursula the Sea Witch? No way. She wasn't in the original.
So what was in the original? Nothing?
You know what?
What was
That's a
it?
good
Just
question.
her? She's like just
She was
catching
just
the tides.
a little mermaid opining over a man because
Pining
it takes a
over-
man to validate women in all contexts.
For Disney at that stage of their life, apparently, yes.
The story follows a journey of a young mermaid who is willing to give up her life in the sea as a mermaid to gain a human soul. See, that's more interesting.
That is much more interesting than
The
just
tale
because
was
she thinks
first
he's
published in 1837 as part of a collection of fairy tales for children. The original story has been subject to multiple analysis by scholars, as well as folklorists. That's not a word. These analyses cover various aspects of the story, interpreting themes and discussing why Anderson chose to write a tragic story with a happy ending. It has been adapted to various media, including musical theater, anime, ballet, opera, and film.
Here's the thing. Wouldn't you? I think it would be a little more interesting if it was a whaling ship that ends up taking her out of the ocean. And then she falls in love with one of the whalers. Like,
Or
on
they
the
like
boat.
keep her as like an attraction,
like a
that-
sideshow.
yeah.
And that's where the sideshows start.
and everybody yells it like "freak."
Yeah. You freak. I ate your tail.
Do you want to hear the long and short of the plot?
Sure.
The Little Mermaid lives in an underwater kingdom with her widowed father, the Sea King,
Oh, Zeus. Or no. What's Poseidon?
Poseidon, her grandmother, and 5 older sisters, each of whom had been born 1 year apart. Why is that a relevant detail?
It's not.
When the mermaid turns 15, she is permitted to swim to the surface for the first time to glimpse the world above. And when the sisters become
Seems a
old
little
enough,
young.
each of them visits the upper world one at a time every year. As they return, the Little Mermaid listens longingly to the various descriptions of the world inhabited by human beings. When her turn comes, she rises to the surface, watches a birthday celebration on a ship honoring a handsome prince, and falls in love with him from a safe distance. Come on.
Oh, my
At least she's
gosh.
social distancing.
Yeah, that's true.
A violent storm sinks the
safe
ships, and the Little Mermaid saves the prince from drowning. She delivers him unconscious to the shore near a temple. Here she waits until a young woman from the temple and her ladies... just too much to this.
Aztecs always got to get involved, because of the temple.
In the story, though, mermaids live 300 years.
Really?
Yeah, but when they die, they turn into sea foam and cease to exist.
Oh.
While humans have an eternal soul that lives in heaven.
I tell you what, if
Hans
you wanna
Christian
get in-
Andersen was a religious dude, so this probably has a religious bent to it.
But if you want to get a motor running, you pump it full of seafoam.
That's true.
I mean, you pump seafoam into a mercury motor, and you're going to get it to fire. I guarantee you.
Well, I'm not going to go on. It's pretty much the same, though, for the most part.
Except Ursula's not involved, or
There is a sea witch. Yeah, there is a sea
okay.
witch.
What about? Does it say anything about a Jamaican crab or a lobster? He's a lobster.
No, it does. There is a sea witch, and she does exchange her tongue and voice for legs.
That's silly.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty much the same. Disney kind of hit it on the head. I mean, it's a little darker, this version.
So in Little Mermaid, she could easily breathe underwater, and she could easily breathe on land.
Yeah.
So where are her gills?
Probably down in her tail section.
You think so?
Yeah. It's got to be.
Hidden in her tail scales?
Yeah, like on the sides of her.
Because it doesn't show that. In Waterworld, it does show gills
That's
on
true.
Mr. Kevin Costner behind his ears.
Yeah.
And that was a smart move, to hide it behind the ears.
Do you want to hear Hans Christian Andersen's other famous tales?
I believe one of them is
The Emperor's New Clothes.
that one.
Little Mermaid. The Nightingale. The Steadfast Tin Soldier. The Princess and the Pea.
I was Sir Studley in the musical for Princess and the Pea in high school.
Is that real? There was a musical for Princess and the Pea?
Yeah, I was in it my senior year, and I was Sir Studley.
Okay. The Snow Queen, which I believe is Snow White.
Okay.
The Ugly Duckling, The Little Match Girl, and Thumbelina. So, I mean, Disney just gutted this guy's work.
He threw down some pieces.
Yeah.
I don't really think they gutted him. I think he sold them, right?
No, dude, he was dead before Disney was existing.
Oh, really? So they just kind of took it?
Yeah, they just took it. They're like, public domain, bitches!
So they didn't say a story by Hans Christian
I
Andersen.
don't think so, no.
Or based off a story by.
Oh, they said based off the story by Walt Disney.
Yeah. Is that I think that's what they did, right?
I mean, yeah, they're kind of
You would do the same thing.
yeah, because Aladdin's based on Arabian Nights, which is an old book from the like 1800s.
Arabian Nights.
I don't think
Arabian Days.
more often than not, it's hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. What does that mean? More often than not, Arabian Nights are hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. That's a sexual innuendo.
Wow. That is a straight up sex story.
That's weird. And Cinderella's not original. That's not a Disney thing. They didn't come up with Cinderella. That's an old story too.
Cinderella. So has Disney created anything besides Mickey Mouse?
I don't think so. And he stole Mickey Mouse.
From who?
Like his partner, right? He had a partner at the time.
Did he manslaughter him or?
He at least manslaughtered him.
I'm sure he did. We're gonna have to talk about man's laughter much more than just this episode. It's gonna have to continue.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, why were we talking about The Little Mermaid?
No idea. I have no idea how that started. Oh, you were watching it.
Yeah, but we started talking about before I was talking about that. Anyway, not relevant.
Yeah. Okay. Where do we go from there? I've got just a small story
Okay.
to tell you that the bane of my existence,
Oh, tell me the story.
the bane of my existence has crept back into my life and is creating.
Cup holders?
Nope. No, it's not the cup. Although those are still present and non-functional. This little furry guy has
a mink.
crept into my life
A mink?
and started chewing on chickens.
The mink is back.
The fucking mink is back.
Okay? Just stop having chickens.
No, I want chickens.
Why?
I like having chickens.
There's no purpose.
I enjoy them. The
Eggs
boys
are
like
so
them.
cheap.
I love eggs. Do you need some? I got a bunch of eggs.
Yeah, actually, I do.
Okay, well, you can't have any.
Ouch.
So this little furry fella comes creeping into the yard yesterday. First day we've seen him since last year.
And you saw him?
Oh yeah, clear as
Why
day.
didn't you strangle him?
Okay, good point, Chris. Why don't you?
Why didn't
catch
you commit
this
man's
little
laughter?
animal? I've been trying to commit man's laughter. Just wait, it escalates. So I walk outside, and Grady's standing out there with me, and this little guy had to have just come over out into the yard, out in the open. Rare for them to do this. He's out in the yard, and it's 5:15 in the afternoon, 5:20 maybe. Bright, sunshiny day, right? They don't usually come out during the day. In the heat of the day. It's always at night. Well, this one is bold.
It's a drunk
He comes
mink.
out, and I didn't know he was there. The chickens were making quite a ruckus, and I wasn't paying attention, but I noticed it as soon as Grady said, he looks at me and he says, "Dad, that chicken, something's chewing on that chicken." And I said, "What?" He said, "I think it's a mink." So I run over there, and it was like just that calm. He looks at me, just kind of puzzled. He says, Dad, something's chewing on that chicken. And I run over there, and sure as shit, this little itty bitty thing. I mean, it's maybe 8 inches long at the most. It's tiny. All of a sudden, it pokes its little black head up, looking at me, like blackish gray head up, looking at me, and then just kind of turns around real slow and walks away. So I run in the garage. I normally would have a shotgun there. I put it in the basement, like hid it in the basement. So it wasn't there. But I did have a 22 in there. So I grabbed the 22, put some rounds in the 22, run outside. He was like perched up over by my LP tank. I get out there, and he kind of slinks off in the grass. Well, he didn't kill any of the chickens at the time. The chicken he was chewing on is still alive. It's in my garage. The only reason, normally I would just, put them out of their misery if they were close to being dead.
Can a chicken not defend itself?
Not very well. A hen won't. The roosters do. Roosters do very well,
yeah.
but the hens just really can't do anything besides run away, and they try to fly up in the air. But those little minks are quick, man. A ferret or a weasel. I mean,
So it was just
fast.
standing there being chewed on? Like it's not putting up any resistance?
It was laying on the ground. It had nothing. I mean, it was just laying there. It looked like it was dead.
Can you at least flap its wings or something?
You would think that they don't do it. So I walked over there. I thought it was dead, and I grabbed its leg to go throw it off into the tree line, and all of a sudden it like popped its head up. It looked like it was drunk.
Was it bleeding?
A little bit. So there's blood on the back of its head, and there was a little bit of blood on the ground, but it wasn't like actively bleeding. So I thought it was dying. Well, we left and went into town, had to go into town. So came back, maybe was gone 15 minutes at the most. And I thought, I'm going to leave it out here, maybe draw that thing back out, and I can blast them. So I come in just to blast them. No mink came back. Nothing came around. But it was up on its feet, like kind of just sitting down, perched like it would normally be sitting, just looking around. So I go out there, it's breathing normal. And I'm like, this thing's got a lot more life in it than I expected. So I texted my soon-to-be sister-in-law, who was a vet, and I asked her, I was like, is it worth trying to keep this chicken alive that just had its head chewed on? And she's like, I don't know, is its tongue still pink? You ever looked at a chicken tongue?
I didn't even know they had tongues.
I didn't either. I honestly really didn't either. Well, then
Never have crossed my mind.
Well, so I grabbed this chicken's beak and I look in its little mouth, and it has a tongue.
There is pause in this story. It is amazing that chickens survive at all.
I know.
They're this ridiculous that you're just grabbing their beaks, looking at their tongues.
Oh, it was so dazed and confused at this point. It was like it was in shock. It was easily in shock. It was not acting like a normal bird whatsoever. So I opened its mouth up and look at its tongue, and then I was like, I don't know if that's pale or if it's like a normal pink color. I took a picture, sent it to her, and she said, oh, well, that's good. She's like, that means it's oxygenating blood. Like it's breathing normal and it's still keeping blood in its body. So that's a good thing. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, well, I'll be over shortly. I can bring some antiseptic and stuff. We can clean it up.
It's only $150 an hour.
Okay. So she comes over, not for family, Chris. So she comes over and she's like, I've got all these things if you want to clean her up. And I looked at her, I was like, this chicken cost me like $1.20. So I'm not cleaning anything. I was like, we could throw some ointment on her if that's like what you do, but I wasn't going to get this involved. I was like, I just think she looks like she'll live. And she's like, yeah, she does, kind of. Like there was a bloody patch on the back of her head. She still has it. And then she gave me this ointment, and I put the ointment on there. And she said, at the minimum, this will create a barrier so she doesn't get maggots on her head. She's like, because they can get poisoned from that. Like they'll get into really bad infection. Which is weird because you can use maggots to clean a wound, like they did in Gladiator.
Yeah, sterile maggots.
They couldn't have sterilized maggots in Gladiator.
Well, they must monitor the situation because maggots eat dead tissue, right?
Right.
So you must just have to get them out.
Yeah,
once
I guess
they're
so.
done eating the dead tissue.
Okay. Well, either way, she said once it gets maggots in their wounds and stuff, a lot of times they get really sick, and that's what'll kill them. So this will create a barrier in order to stop that. So I put the ointment on her head. She's still alive.
If you get a
cooking.
cut, if you got a cut right now,
Yeah.
like a pretty decent sized cut, and you didn't do anything to it, you wouldn't get maggots in that cut.
No, but you don't live outside all the time.
Well, what if you did? If you did live outside, do you think you get maggots? If there's flies come.
Yes.
So
There's
flies
flies
would land
around.
on you and then lay eggs, and that's maggots.
Right.
Okay.
It's absolutely possible for that to happen to you.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Amy had a story about maggots on a person's foot once in the
I don't want to
OR.
hear about that.
That was disgusting. It's happened one time. Diabetic.
Yeah, I've
wasn't taking
heard
care
about
of things.
stuff like that.
Anyway, so then today, right? I'm home. I'm getting ready to go take a shower as soon as I got home from work, and this is gonna get a little racy, but I am completely naked in my bathroom, right? And Amy comes and bangs on the door and said, "The mink's outside. There's a mink outside." I said, "Okay, like go chase it or get it out of there, do something." And so she runs off, and then I'm like, "Shoot, if it's out there, I need to go like shoot it." So I throw on a pair of boxers real quick, and I open the door, and I could see it out our bedroom window in the backyard. I run out to the garage. I already had bullets in the 22.
So you just
I
left
grabbed
a
it.
loaded gun laying around
No, it wasn't laying around. It's in a safe.
in your garage?
Yes.
Thieves, just so you know, that's where it's at.
But you'd have to know the PIN code. And,
Just take the whole safe.
that was hard to. That would be hard to move. Grab that.
How did you move the safe?
I'm running. It's not the same one.
Oh, okay.
I still want to move that though, because he didn't buy that from me. So I still need to move that safe. I run through the yard with just a pair of Batman boxers on today, nothing else, with a 22 chasing a mink through the yard. It runs off in the grass. Well, I thought it ran into the chicken coop, and I get to the chicken coop, and I'm just like gonna slowly.
And you just randomly just started pumping the chicken coop full of bullets, right?
Yeah, full of lead. I'm gonna count to 3. No, I didn't do that. I started opening the door real slow, and then all of a sudden I heard this rustling in the grass, literally right by me. And so I stopped, and I look over, and he comes peeking his head out of the grass, looking at me. So I bring my gun up. It has a scope on it, and it was at 3.5 power. I bring it up, and I'm aiming at him. And I could see him in the scope, and I shoot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happened next?
You missed it.
I completely missed this mink, and he is still alive.
How did you miss?
I don't know. I think the scope's off. I haven't sighted that gun in a while.
First of all, you don't need a scope on a 22.
No, well, I like it for squirrels. I always use it for squirrel hunting.
Yeah, but the range on a 22 is such that you can hit everything that you want to hit with iron sights
I like it.
because you're lazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm American. Of course. I've always had a scope.
Is it one of those
on
like
this 22.
little tiny like pencil scopes?
No, it's not. It's a 10 power scope.
Wow, that exceeds the range of the gun.
No, you can shoot 100 yards with a 22.
You can, but probably not. Well, yeah.
No, you easily can. How would you know? So
22 Magnum all day.
Oh yeah, this is just a regular 22 though. So I have this little bastard mink that is still hunting my chickens, and so now I have the shotgun up in the garage, and it's ready to go.
I have the perfect gun for you. A 410. That's a perfect.
I have a 410 as well.
That's a mink gun right there.
It would be, but my 410's a single shot.
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah, I want more.
It only takes one shot, Jerry.
If you connect. I shot at him last year with my shotgun and missed, but it was 2-shot. It was 2-shot duck loads that I was using, and I shot through a fence, and it was too low, and I missed him.
Nice.
2-shot, there's not very many BBs involved in this, in the bullet itself. So now I've got 8-shot in there, so
Ooh.
I should be able to knock him out. Knock him out, John.
Well, that's exciting. Your mink problems continue.
But if you talk about like the epitome of hillbilly, today was my day. Running through the yard in Batman underwear with a 22, with chickens running all over and me trying to shoot at a mink. And the first thing I said when I was running through the yard, and I was yelling back as my wife and kids were standing at the garage watching me. And I said, "Do not take a picture of me," as I was running. And she said, "That's literally the first thing I thought of, is to take a picture of you right now."
I mean,
Unbelievable.
if that's not one of the most hillbilly things, I don't know what it is. But I also shot 3 possums coming out from underneath my house that I baited with tuna from inside of my kitchen.
Perfect.
Out the kitchen window, sitting on my countertop.
Today?
No,
Oh.
a long time ago.
Yeah, I just shot a possum recently too, that I thought was a chicken in my chicken coop. And I moved him over to the side with my hand, and then I looked and I was like, that has ears. Chickens don't have ears.
Why were you shooting chickens?
I wasn't. I shot the possum.
Oh,
I was getting into the chicken coop to get eggs, and it was sitting in a nesting box, and it's the same color as one chicken I have. It's like a grayish chicken, and I just fling the boxes open, like the door on the outside of the coop, and start grabbing eggs in all the nesting boxes, and I literally just like pushed what I thought was a hen. Like I moved it off to the side, grabbed an egg, put it in there, and then I looked, and I was like, I saw its ear twitch, and I was like, chickens don't have ears.
wow, it's amazing that it wasn't hissing at you.
Nope, it was completely asleep, and I realized it was a possum. So I go back to the garage, got my 22, came back, I like poked it, and then it stuck its head up real slow and started hissing at me. I was like, oh, yep, big old boy possum.
Well, that's an interesting story. On a side note, I have a pet mink, and I was walking the pet mink down your road.
Oh, no
and
kidding.
it got off the leash. So if you find that mink,
Okay, I will hopefully find him tomorrow. I set some traps. I don't know if I set traps last year and they didn't work. Can't catch them. They're smart. I had a live trap that I set that it went into, but it was too light to set the actual
you need
trigger
one of
off.
those little squirrel traps.
So I got a small one, but I also have an actual mink trap that was built by my father-in-law and dad on the same day. And they came and set them out the same time last year. Still have those, so we're going to try them again.
There you go. His mink drama continues, folks.
It does. Stay tuned for more mink stories from Jerry.
Well, I think we got a little bit of news here, Jerry. You want to do some news?
Oh, real quick.
Yes.
Multiple people in our community from Seneca and Manuka, a couple other areas, have randomly brought up our show to me. And it's all been brought up the same exact way. And they've said, what's the deal with this Snarf talk thing? What is that? And I've said to every one of them, oh, it's a podcast I do with Chris Harford. I'm like, yeah, you know Chris Harford. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, that's what I told them what we talk about and things like that. And they're like, oh, yeah, I just been seeing a lot about that. I said, well, you should listen to it.
Seeing it where? On Facebook?
I think so.
Yeah.
They've seen the videos that have posted lately and just that it was a podcast. So I explained a little bit to them, but it's been like 6 different people this last week that have just randomly brought it up to me, which doesn't normally happen.
Do I know any of these people?
Anymore.
Probably shouldn't say their names.
One of them, I think you do.
Okay.
Yeah. She went to high school with us.
Okay.
That's all. I just thought it was a weird occurrence. They just had to all brought it up at different times throughout the week, and they all said the exact same thing. What's
Where are you running into all these
this
people?
Snarf Talk thing?
I try my hardest in life not to run into people. Any people.
Well, I mean, how do you try not to run into people when you have to go places?
I don't go places. That's how.
Oh, well, you're just a non-existent, I don't know. What do I want to say? Like, you just aren't adding anything to society. You're not giving money back to your local communities by buying things.
Yeah, I buy stuff. I buy stuff online.
From Amazon. You're right. Oh, yeah, that's local.
No, from
Good
local
job.
companies online.
Uh-huh, sure.
And by the way, it's a global community, Jerry. Come on, get with the times.
No, we are not
It's a
global.
globalist agenda going on.
I want to give money back to either Mazan, Morris, or Seneca. That's it.
Screw your hometown of Verona.
They have no businesses.
They have a vending machine that sells candy bars.
Where? Howard's is closed.
They have a post office, Jerry. When's the last time you bought stamps?
It's been a couple of years ago, but I bought them from Mazan, and the postal service does not give any money back to the city.
They have a rubber factory. When's the last time you bought rubber?
That's closed a long time ago. Closed a long time ago.
Okay, they have a scrapyard, Jerry.
They do. Yep.
When's the last time you patronized the scrapyard?
I took cans there
When you were
last
12
year.
years old?
No, last year I took some cans there, actually.
Oh, there's nothing that is more of a waste of time than collecting and or cashing in cans.
I completely agree. I did do that a lot as a kid, though.
Yeah.
A lot. I would crush cans. And then bees would always come around.
Bees.
Bees. I'm thinking about having a beehive.
I know you've said that before.
Oh, man. The
I've
more and
told
more
you
I look
before,
at
I'm
it,
pretty sure I have some beehives in my timber that you can have.
I don't want the wooden ones, though. They
They're not
seem like
wooden.
so much
They're
work.
plastic.
But they seem like so much work. I want this flow hive. It's called flow hive.
I know what they are.
I want that one.
Yeah.
They're expensive, but they look like very minimal, lazy beekeeper type.
I've seen some that aren't that expensive that are the same kind with the
Oh,
tapper
really?
at the bottom. Yeah.
Send it to me.
I will.
You got my email?
Yeah. Okay. I have very little interest in having bees, but I do want to put up a lot of bat houses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to have bat houses, huh?
Yeah, everywhere.
Did you see all those bats flying around my house?
There's bats everywhere. I bet
No,
there's
there isn't.
bats flying around right now.
Not your house.
Yeah, there's bats in my yard. There's tons of them.
You've never talked about them before.
We
And
have
that's a shame.
tons of bats in our yard. If you go out after dark and look up, they're just everywhere. They're flying everywhere.
That's so great. I
It's-
mean,
They eat a massive amount of mosquitoes. That's why you want a lot of
They
bats.
eat like, what is it, 2 to 4 times their body weight in bugs every time they fly.
And it's mostly mosquitoes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think that's why I don't have any mosquitoes around my house.
Ooh, I have a lot.
I don't. I really don't. I've never sprayed for mosquitoes.
There's lots of stagnant water around my house.
Right, because you're a stagnant human. That was kind of aggressive.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, I got a couple news items.
All right, get
Nothing
after
too crazy here, but
And here comes Chris with the news.
PS5 is launching, Jerry.
It is,
And they have recently announced the game that they are launching with.
and it's coming out with your favorite guy,
Yeah. Spiderman. Miles Morales.
Spider-Man. I saw this. Yes.
It'll be launching on PS5. I think that's supposed to come out like Christmas time. Or probably before Christmas, but for the holiday season.
What's the Xbox?
Same.
It's coming. One of them's coming out before the other, right?
Yeah, but I think they're both like launching in the fall for Christmas time.
I've always been an Xbox guy.
So have I, but if this game is exclusive, I think I'm going to switch it up.
Really, but I hear really good things about this new Xbox.
Yeah.
Like incredible,
But-
unbelievable.
What's better than the PS5 about the Xbox?
I don't know. I don't remember
They're
anything
basically
I've
the
read.
same, right? I mean, is there really that much difference?
I don't know.
I'm just like used to the menus, but I don't think there's a huge difference. Every time I see somebody playing a PlayStation, I think that menu design is terrible. It seems so non.
The menu design of like the home
Yeah,
of
like a
the
PlayStation. It's just not. It doesn't look good.
Okay. I guess I haven't seen one in a long time.
Well, anyway, I'm excited about that, and I don't know. I haven't owned a PlayStation in a long time, but I think
haven't either.
I might get one for that.
PlayStation 2 was the last one I had.
Same here.
When was that?
Probably when we were in high school.
Yeah, it had to have been because I had the original Xbox though, and I think I had that in high school.
I believe I got a PlayStation 2 from my parents for my high school graduation present.
Really, that would have been my freshman year.
Freshman year, yeah.
Are you the same age as Neil Hall?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, my freshman year then.
Yeah, I remember that. It was my Like I got it for graduation. Like, oh, you're going to college. PS2.
Wow, you are old.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I just had regular PlayStation, man. That's what it was out back then.
I think it came out before that, though.
It did
I think
come.
it,
No, it definitely came out
yeah,
before then.
because I thought I had one in 8th grade, maybe even earlier, because I was privileged.
Well, that would have been a year earlier, but yeah, March 2000 it came out, and I
So
graduated.
yeah, that was my 8th
I
grade year.
graduated in 2002.
And I started high school 2001. I probably had that my 8th grade year when it came out. Maybe got it for Christmas.
Well, there you go. So that was my first bit of news. Another interesting one that came up recently today, I heard about. There's a little show on DC Universe app, Jerry, that we both watched,
Okay.
which was canceled.
Oh my gosh.
A show called The Swamp Thing.
Yes.
Swamp Thing.
The swamp. Get in the swamp.
It was.
I don't know.
Can you do a Louisiana accent?
No.
What's the dude? The guy that plays the bad guy. He's got like a terrible.
That's awful. That's an awful accent, though.
Yeah.
All I can say is get in the swamp.
We're going on the swamp.
Yeah, give me your. I don't even. What's that food that they always eat? Gumbo. Give me that gumbo and get in the swamp.
What's the difference between a gumbo and a jambalaya?
It's not jambalaya. It's jambalaya.
Jambalaya.
No, you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
I think it's jambalaya.
No, it's jambalaya, and I think
Jambalaya is like rice, like a more of a. It's not as soupy, right? Gumbo is more soupy.
See, I thought of it opposite than that. I thought a gumbo would be thicker, stickier, like a gum.
No, jambalaya.
Where a jambalaya is just a jumble of ayas.
It's definitely jambalaya, and also it's like celery. Let's see.
Well, celery is just like part of the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, so it's like celery, rice, like andouille sausage,
Andouille, so
and
good.
maybe some shrimp.
Give me some
Some
shrimp.
seasoning. Whereas gumbo can be more. It probably has the same ingredients, but it's got more of a broth to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you looking that up, or are you just guessing?
No, I'm looking at like jambalaya looks like paella. It's similar to like a paella.
Okay,
Spanish
so that's a
paella.
Spanish dish.
Gumbo. I've had different kinds of gumbo. Some have been soupy and some have not been soupy. So it's
Really?
hard to say. Oh yeah, it's definitely more soupy looking though.
Okay.
It's a soup, popular in the U.S. state of Louisiana.
Give me that gumbo.
It consists of strongly flavored stock, meat, and shellfish, a thickener, and what Louisianans call the Holy Trinity. Do you know what the Holy Trinity is?
Yeah, so carrots, celery, and onion.
Celery, bell peppers, and onion.
Well, that's not true.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, maybe for gumbo, it's the Holy Trinity, but for cooking in general, especially French cuisine, it's carrots, onion, and celery. Always.
The Holy Trinity in Cajun cuisine and Louisiana Creole cuisine is the base for several dishes. It consists of onions, bell peppers, and celery.
Okay, for Cajun cuisine, yes.
It is in preparation of Cajun Creole dishes such as crawfish etouffee,
Etouffee.
gumbo,
Give me that etouffee with your gumbo and get in the swamp.
and jambalaya.
Jambalaya.
They all start from that base.
They all say jambalaya.
You know
They
what I want
don't
to get
say
into?
jam. They don't say jambalaya. Oh, back, buddy. Jambalaya.
How to pronounce jambalaya.
No, it's not pronounced that way.
It is pronounced jam-ba-lie-a.
Bull.
I'm looking at it.
I've never heard anybody say that. Never, ever, ever. Everyone has always said jambalaya.
You know what I want to get into?
Pronouncing words correctly? Yeah, I wish you would too. I'm glad.
I want to get into making a row. Like I want to
roux?
make a row.
Rue.
Yeah, like I rue the day.
Yeah, I rue the day as well.
How do you spell it?
R-U-E?
R-O-E.
It's pronounced roux. There is fish roe. Fish roe is their eggs, and you could eat those. It's the eggs of any like sea creature, really. Is their roe.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I've never had it.
Yes, you have. You've definitely had it on sushi.
Did
Lots
I?
of times
Have
it's
I?
on the outside of sushi.
Oh,
Little fish eggs.
maybe I have.
No, I know
But
it's
a-
roux. I was pronouncing it wrong because I was pronouncing jambalaya wrong.
No.
Just to get a rise out of you.
No, you weren't. You were doing it on purpose because you just don't know how to speak. So it's a roux, and that is usually butter and flour.
It's like a base. It's ROUX.
You're right. Rocks. Rooks.
White, blonde, and brown.
Yeah, it's the more you cook it. You're browning the flour.
Yeah, like the good brown gravy.
It gets a little nuttier
Good
flavor.
brown gravy, good brown gravy, good brown gravy, good brown gravy.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know
it?
the rest of the song.
I didn't know that was a song.
Yeah, you never heard that song?
No. Good brown
They tried
gravy.
to put me in the army, tried to put me in the Navy, all to get the secret of my good brown gravy. Stop, stop, I holler to my hounds, you're the one to keep it from coming around. I used to think you were after me, but you're just after my recipe for good brown gravy, good brown
I thought you didn't know the words.
Good brown gravy, good brown gravy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a country song.
So you did know the words after all.
Yeah, I know the words, Jerry.
You're like, oh, I don't know.
I know everything.
I don't
It's
know
a
the
Joe
words of
Diffie
this
song.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, Joe
Yeah.
Diffie.
The COVID got him.
COVID got him.
I
Okay.
can't get rich, I can't make a living, but I sure do something for the neighborhood women.
Ooh. That's strange. Why does everything have to have these like really subtle sexual undertones all the time? Is that what people want?
You can eat it from a biscuit, you can sop it from a pan, you can lick it off your fingers while it's running down your hand. If I could get a notion, I'd start a big promotion. I'd put it in a ball, call it biscuit lotion.
Biscuit lotion. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to call it from now on. I'm going to tell Amy, you know, I could really go for some biscuit lotion and sausage.
You know, there is a lot of undertones in this. My
Go ahead.
grandma told my mom about the power that it had. Good brown gravy is the way she got my dad.
Well, that's just saying. Like,
Yeah.
I cook well, and
Yeah, that's true.
he liked my cooking.
Yeah, that's true.
That was just you trying to, reach.
Can we get
That
back
was
to the
reaching.
news?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Swamp Thing.
Oh yeah. Holy shit. I forgot we were talking about Swamp Thing. Get in the swamp.
Swamp Thing, which has been canceled, as we know from DC Universe, has been picked up by the CW. They're going to rebroadcast it on the CW.
Rebroadcast the original
Existing
episodes.
episodes.
that they made.
However, that's a way bigger audience on the C-dubs.
It is.
So if it were to catch some traction there, I'm sure that they would bring it back in production. They have all the sets.
The CW does?
Well,
Or like,
the CW and DC, same thing. It's Warner Brothers.
oh, yeah, that's true. So I feel like this could be a good CW show as long as the production stays up to where it was. I liked the suit. I liked the production that they had. I didn't like some of the acting. But all in all, I think it was a decent show. Besides
Is the network jumping in to save the show and potentially give it a second season if it does well? Probably not. That's what it says. Variety reports that the networks are having to buy in content from streaming services and international broadcasters because they can't produce new original shows at the moment. Because of the COVID, Jerry.
because of the damn COVID.
So anyway, who knows though? If it really...
I think it could. I mean, if we're getting the Snyder Cut released and they're going to throw $20 million towards that to be released, why is it out of the realm of possibility that they make a second season of Swamp Thing? That should happen.
I hope that HBO Max decides to make a new Swamp Thing. Just a different Swamp Thing.
How many times can you make a new thing, though, Chris?
Well, nobody saw the first one, so...
I know.
Here's the deal.
That's true.
Swamp Thing is in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and it's awesome. We can't talk about it because Jerry hasn't watched it. Anyway,
I haven't.
next.
I'm sorry.
Next news. Do you have any news, first off, before I go any further?
I don't. I'm sorry.
All righty then.
You have more? Obviously?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Get after it.
I just have an interesting little tidbit here. Hawkeye has been confirmed or considered the most valuable hero in the Marvel Cinematic Research based on new research.
How is that possible?
A new report from the Film Franchise Showdown, which reviews budgets, box office earnings, and IMDb scores and award nominations for films, revealed the best and worst installments of film franchise. Hawkeye has been deemed the most valuable member of the Avengers, outranking Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
I don't think this is true.
They take return on investment for each character, reviewing how important each character was in each film they appeared in during the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The return on investment represents the number of times the box office earnings exceeded the budget. Hawkeye's return on investment ranked at 5.3 per film.
So it's saying like every film that those characters have been in, and they're ranking the most money that those movies have made.
The profit
off of the films that that character has been in. Well, Hawkeye has only been in Avengers films, and all of the Avengers films have made a shitload of money, including Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. Like, obviously, he's never had a solo movie, so
such a shame.
It's stupid. That's a stupid rank, and I hate Hawkeye. I like Ronan.
Do you like Jeremy Renner's band?
I didn't know he had a band.
Oh, yeah, he's got a band.
Is it the Jeremy Renner band?
No, but it is almost as cringy. I've seen.
Really? Is it Hawkeye band?
I'm trying to look up the name of the band, but it's something. You should see the.
Is it Jeremy's Quiver?
That's the name of his. That's the name of his first single, Quiver.
Quiver. Is it really?
Yeah.
No.
No, of course it's not. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
Nomad. Jeremy Renner. Nomad. It was his first single.
Nomad. Sing some of his songs, Chris.
I've not heard any of his songs.
You've heard Good Brown Gravy.
Wait, what? Imagine Dragons. That's not it.
Feel the thunder. The thunder.
Yeah. Oh, they're saying
Lightning.
His music sounds like Taylor Hicks fronting Imagine Dragons.
Taylor Hicks was an American Idol winner.
Yeah, he's pretty good too.
Had that salt and pepper hair.
Yeah, he did. I don't know what the name of the band is. I can't. But
Lightning and the thunder.
It's not that. I've seen some of the music video on like John Oliver's show or something, and it looks terrible.
I'm sure it is. Kind of like the Kevin Bacon band.
Yeah,
or the Bacon Brothers band.
There's lots of Kevin Bacon was in a band. Rashida
Jones?
Yes, she's in a band.
She is?
Yes.
She's a good singer, though.
She's the daughter of Quincy Jones.
She is.
I mean,
Quincy
come on,
Jones.
she's got musical history in her.
That's true.
Bruce Willis was in a band.
Yeah, Steve Martin is a hell of a picker.
Yeah, he's a picker and a grinner.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. He is. That's a mighty fine a picking and a grinning.
Celebrities and bands.
Steve Martin is very good, though, at that, and he takes it very seriously.
Let's look at a ranker list of celebrities who play in bands.
All right.
I bet it's all the ones we just said. Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Johnny
a member
Depp's
of the
been
group
all over it.
P, which also included Butthole Surfers singer Gibby Haynes. I love the Butthole Surfers.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all right.
I mean, I like that one song I know of them.
Right. And it's the one song I know of them.
But Flea is also in his band. Was in that with him. And Sex Pistols guitarist Steve Jones. Jared Leto, of course, we all know he's in 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yep.
That's not a very good band. No. Zoe Deschanel.
She's very good.
Yeah, she's in that band, She and Him.
Let me tell you something, Chris, okay? I get serious about this one thing.
The scene in Elf where she's singing.
No, well, I mean, that's a very good scene. I've never been a big, like, celebrity crush guy. You know, where everybody's like, oh, I've got this celebrity crush. This is I think they're so hot. Or whatever. But the one that I do have, and the one that I just can't get rid of, is Zoe Deschanel.
You're into the manic pixie dream girls.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, we've talked about it on the podcast before. It's a
Have we
classification.
really?
Yeah, it's a classification of a certain type of female character that's in certain types of movies.
It's so strange.
It's called
that
the
you know
manic
these
pixie
things.
dream girl.
Why do you know that?
Some examples of the manic pixie dream
You've
girl.
already looked it up.
Yeah,
You've typed that in that amount of time.
yeah. Some of examples would be Kirsten Dunst. That's actually
Not a fan.
it's not the person.
No, not a
it's
fan.
the type of character.
Well, that's a bullshit character.
Or Natalie Portman from Garden State. She's that character archetype.
Never even seen that movie.
You've never seen Garden State? It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, well, that's stupid.
It's terrible that you've never seen that.
I don't care what the classification is. Zoe Deschanel is my crush, my celebrity crush. I love everything she's in. I think it's great. If you've never seen 500 Days of Summer, you're an idiot.
Another example would be Almost Famous, Kate Hudson in Almost Famous.
I can understand that. I mean, her like Zoe Deschanel in New Girl or Zoe Deschanel
In everything she
Elf.
does. Manic Pixie Dream Girl is a stock character type in films. They exist solely in the fevered imagination of sensitive writer-directors to teach broodingly soulful young men to embrace life and its infinite mysteries and adventures.
That sounds like my childhood, you know? Like that sounds like what I grew up. That's what I grew
Manic
up
Pixie
on.
Dream Girls are said that they help their men without pursuing their own happiness. As such, characters never grow up. Thus, their men never grow up. This is your archetype.
Is it? Amy's never grown up?
No, I'm not saying.
I've never grown up. That's for damn sure.
Anyway, it's a stock character type, and she plays the same in everything she does.
But if I could freeze time and be the same all the time, like back when I
like
had
Peter
hair.
Pan,
Back when I had hair, I would do that.
back to the list. Kevin Bacon in the Bacon Brothers. Ryan Gosling.
No way.
Yep, he provides vocals, piano, and guitar, and bass guitar, and cello in the band Dead Man's Bones. Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Yep, he's in.
I knew he had one.
Russell Crowe and The Ordinary Fear of God. These guys need some better
Wow.
names. Steven Seagal.
No way.
He's in a band called Thunderbox.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's released 2 albums. The band is named Thunderbox, Jerry.
Thunder Box featuring Steven Seagal.
Is that? Never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
Steven Seagal, and I'm going to thunder your box.
I was going to say something about an Australian. Never mind.
In Australian.
Yeah, like the Thunder Down Under. Down.
The lightning and the thunder.
Jack Black.
Oh,
obviously.
yeah, Tenacious D.
Bruce Willis.
I really love
his
Jack
band,
Black.
The Accelerators. He's great in everything, but he's really
Die
good.
Hard. You're right.
No, the new Jumanji. It's good.
Oh, you're talking about Jack Black.
Yeah.
Oh, we skipped around there.
Taylor Momsen. I said celebrities. I don't even know who that person is.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton. Plays guitar in the band The Boxmasters. Lots of boxes.
Wow. Mastering boxes, thundering boxes.
He was previously in the group Tres Hombres.
I've heard of that band.
Steve Martin, of course, we talked about. Keanu Reeves.
Really?
In a band called The Dog Star.
I didn't know that. He
Or
also
just
builds
Dog
motorcycles.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yep. Provided vocals and made samples in the band Martini Ranch.
I don't count. That doesn't count.
Okay. Here's what's more interesting. Dennis Quaid.
In
The Sharks.
the Sharks.
I would
Okay.
I would watch Dennis Quaid and the Sharks.
Dennis Quaid is my favorite Doc Holliday. I will fight anyone.
Dennis Quaid's the best.
You guys are ridiculous if you don't agree. I understand Val Kilmer's very good. He's amazing. If I could, I would call it a tie. I can't because Dennis Quaid's is better. He's almost unrecognizable as Doc Holliday. He lost so much weight, and his performance is amazing.
Noted.
Wyatt Earp, better than Tombstone.
Kevin Costner, while we're on the subject.
He's
Also,
in a band?
Kevin Costner in the Modern West.
Doesn't surprise me.
Hugh
That-
Laurie,
I knew he was in a band. It's a jazz band,
a
too.
jazz quintet.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Oh, like Gary Sinise,
And the
Lieutenant
Lieutenant
Dan
Dan
band.
band. I saw them play and met Gary Sinise.
Jeff Bridges, Jason Schwartzman. I knew he was in a band.
I didn't know that.
Phantom Planet. Yeah.
Any good?
Yeah, they had some hits. They are pretty good.
Okay.
There's a lot. There's more. It's nothing exciting that, like, you don't need to hear about Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Oh, I do. He's my favorite.
Well, he's in a band called the Young Rapscallions.
I knew it. If anybody had the last name Place, you'd have to have scallions involved.
Man, there is so many. You know,
Everybody wants to be in a band. I want to be in
Yeah.
a band.
Frankie Muniz plays the drums.
Doesn't he have a disease where he can't like speak right?
I don't think so.
I
He
thought
was
it was a thing.
Malcolm.
I know.
Malcolm in the Middle. My favorite thing on Twitter ever was somebody talking shit about Frankie Muniz,
Yeah.
and just randomly somebody tweeted at him just talking shit about him,
Sure.
and something about how he never did anything after Malcolm in the Middle, and then he just wrote back like, "Well, I made like $50 million, and you're a broke piece of shit."
Oh my gosh. I've never needed to do anything after Malcolm in the Middle, so I didn't.
Man, that show really just like left the public consciousness, didn't it?
It did a little bit, and it literally threw Bryan Cranston like to where he's at. Like it put him where he's at.
Yeah.
All because he stood around in his underwear on that show, and
That-
then immediately followed it up with standing around in his underwear.
We
on
need a guy to
Breaking
stand
Bad.
in his underwear. Who do we got?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. He'll do it.
It's so weird that he went from that to that.
To Breaking Bad. I know. What an incredible
And
show.
Godzilla. He was in Godzilla.
He was.
I never saw that one.
I did.
Was it good?
I saw it in theaters. Pretty good.
What's Bryan Cranston up to these days?
Nothing.
He's got to be doing stuff.
I don't think he's. I mean, no TV shows. I don't know of a movie out. I know he did a lot of
I hope
Broadway
he's doing
stuff.
something because, like, if not, he really let his. He had he could have done anything
He really could have. I mean,
after that show. That
but
was,
then
like,
again,
huge.
maybe he didn't want to.
He's done it. He's doing a ton of stuff. So he's in a lot of Family Guy episodes. Must be a. He was in Isle of Dogs.
Okay.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, he's in that. I don't know. Yeah, I guess he hasn't done that. Oh, he was in Sneaky Pete. I never watched that though.
I haven't. Never
He was in
watched it
Power
either.
Rangers. Apparently,
Yes.
he was in The Disaster Artist. I don't remember that. That was a good movie though.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has seen The Room, or not everybody, but a lot of people have seen The Room. I thought.
I
This
feel
was
like he
good.
hasn't done that much. I'm kind of.
I know. I don't. He really hasn't.
El Camino. He was in El Camino.
He was in that movie where he was in a wheelchair and a young black kid was pushing him around in this wheelchair, and like I can't remember what the movie. It was like based on a true story.
I don't know.
It
But
was
he
out
has a
few
new
years
show
ago.
coming out called Your Honor. It's in post production.
You think is it about a judge?
Oh boy, I bet it is.
Night Court. It's like Night Court.
A Chicago judge tries to protect his son after he becomes involved with a crime connected to the mafia.
So it is Night Court.
Yep.
I knew it. Traffic Court
What
with
was-
Bryan Cranston.
Night Court. That was a great show.
It really was.
That's enough of the celebrities with bands.
I agree.
One last thing. There's a movie coming out on Disney Plus
Oh, the Plus.
called Artemis Fowl. And it's getting some reviews, Jerry. And its
Oh,
reviews
boy.
are most foul.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It looked cool.
According to Forbes magazine, it's one of the worst young adult fantasy movies ever made.
Ever made.
Lacking
So-
in vivid characters, compelling stakes, or memorable set pieces. Walt Disney's Artemis Fowl brings to mind the very worst of the post-Harry Potter attempts at young adult fantasy franchises.
I didn't think it looked that bad.
That's why it went to Disney Plus, they're saying.
I don't know. I saw a trailer for it, and it was actually relatively intriguing. But maybe the best parts of it is what they put in the trailer.
Yeah. I mean, there was some... So after Harry Potter, right? That's when these YA...
Harry Potter's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
All of them.
I own it all, man. I already got it.
On a disc or streaming?
I got them streaming, man.
Oh, good.
I got
Man.
digital copies.
Why don't you just start saying bro?
No, I don't do that.
Good.
After Harry Potter, there was like a big push for those YA book to movie series. Like that's where we got the Hunger Games, which was not bad.
I've read all those books and I think they're great. They're writing another book. That same writer is coming out with a 4th book.
And
I'm excited.
But that was good because of Jennifer Lawrence.
How do you feel about a Lemony Snicket?
Terrible. No
Like,
interest.
aren't those YA type
Yeah, for sure.
movies?
I tried to watch it on Netflix because there was a series on Netflix.
Didn't Lemony
But it was also
Snicket,
a movie with Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah. Didn't he do like a series of books? Like young adult books and then...
No, the character is Lemony Snicket, not the author.
No, it's like Lemony Snicket's something.
Series of unfortunate events or something like that.
Yeah. Isn't that the
but
author?
No, it's not the author.
It's not?
No.
I always thought it was.
Anyway, that was
That's
one of
the
them.
character?
That's one they tried. They tried to do like the Maze Runner. Remember the Maze?
Yeah.
Which wasn't terrible.
It failed.
Percy Jackson, they tried that. That failed.
You figure that would be a little bit bigger, because of,
Why?
I thought the books were huge.
That's what they're saying. That was like their failure. They tried it with Ender's Game. The movie failed there. That's one of the best.
Ender's Game?
Oh, the books are amazing.
Are they really?
Yeah. I've talked about that before.
Yeah, you have. Didn't Alex was involved with that maybe?
No, I think it was Kurg. We were talking about with Kurg.
That's right. You're right.
Anyway, Artemis Fowl, apparently not worth a shit. But the brilliant thing about it is we're all going to watch it anyway because it's on Disney Plus.
Why not?
We already have it. That's all I got for news. You got any news? You already said no.
No, I don't have any news.
Oh,
but
there is one little other thing. HBO Max is apparently pissing a bunch of people off.
Why?
Because they, and this is kind of annoying, they're not doing things the same way as Disney or Netflix.
Okay.
They are going to do the whole HBO thing where they put movies on and take movies off.
The Netflix thing, you mean?
No, Netflix puts stuff up and leaves it. HBO is
but
always...
it also takes things off, like after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, but...
When the contract comes up.
Yeah, but that's not their content. HBO is doing it with their own content. It's only been out for 2 weeks now or more.
What's the point of that?
So they've already announced that 15 DC movies are leaving HBO Max on July 1st, including the original Batman, original Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman movies, gone. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, gone. Suicide Squad, gone. Wonder Woman, gone. Justice League, gone. All gone on July 1st.
You know, I mean, obviously I'm a Batman fan, but do you think a lot of people care about those movies?
It's just annoying. Just if people are paying for your service, put your movies up and leave them.
Yeah. No, I agree.
They're coming out. Fans are pissed. They're coming off saying, hey, we have a collection of DC films that will rotate on the platform. We have a new batch coming in July and then another batch in August. So basically they're going to put stuff on for a month, take it off.
That's stupid.
Put on a new batch for a month, take those off. Those movies that are going off, they'll come back again, but it might be 3 months from now, 4 months from now, 5 months from now. It's just annoying.
I know. What if you pick a nice little Saturday to stay home, you build a fire, the kids go to bed early, you and the wife are sitting there, you just had a pizza, making some popcorn, you're staring at each other across the room and you're like, let's watch Batman. Let's see Jack Nicholson.
Let's watch Batman and Robin.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight, Amy? If you haven't, let's watch it.
I could use some Alicia Silverstone in my life right now.
I want bat nipples. I want nipples on a Batman suit. And you know what? You know who did that? Joel Schumacher. Let's watch him. HBO Max now. You flip it on.
boom.
Not
Gone.
available. And your Saturday night is ruined. You end up yelling and screaming at each other. The fire takes over the house. You lose the house. Save the kids. Homeless. HBO Max, you son of a
You've
bitch.
caused homelessness.
For multiple families, you know, and this is something I can't stand for, especially in this day and age where we're at. Think we can have more homeless?
Yeah, in the
No.
middle of a pandemic.
They don't care.
Homelessness is on the rise already.
HBO is the richest person in the world.
Yeah.
That one man, his
The
name-
Monopoly guy.
HBO.
Mr. Moneybags.
His name's HBO. He is to the max. I have a story.
Wait, HBO, Hobo, is this a conspiracy?
Oh, okay.
They're
I
rubbing
see.
it right in our faces, Jerry. Their
whole
goal is to
plan
create hobos.
Since when did HBO come out? Early 90s,
like,
80s?
No, like 80s.
Since the 80s, they've been waiting until this moment to maximize hobo-ness.
Yeah. So here's a good question. Is a homeless person the same as a hobo?
No, I believe a hobo is the person that rides a train.
Or just a traveling?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
a traveling, they got to have the stick in the pack on the stick.
Yeah, like the handkerchief tied
Yeah.
to the back or to the stick. I mean, which a homeless person could do, but that would transcend them to the level of
The
hobo.
level of hobo. So, because a hobo has definitely got more of a magical quality to them, right?
Yeah,
They got
they
more
have-
of a story behind them.
And they always have harmonicas or some sort of instrument. And they can do a soft shoe, I believe, dance.
I was just listening to this podcast, Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking to this guy that won the show. I think it's called Alive, where they just take people and they put them out in the woods. They get to choose 10 objects.
Who was that?
I don't remember the guy's name, but he won this show, and he was telling about his life story. And I think he was in the wilderness. You get to choose 10 objects, and they just drop you off somewhere. And
And you have to live. You have
Whoever
to live
lives
on your
the
own
longest.
longer than
Yeah,
everyone else.
whoever-
And you don't know how long everyone else on the show has.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah.
you have a phone, like or some kind of a device that can send text messages, and you need to send a text message every day to them. And if
Okay.
you don't, they'll come out and look and make sure you're okay.
So I had started watching this show.
I don't even know what it's on.
It was originally on Discovery Channel, I thought. I had started watching it right before I was a cord or a cable cutter. And then we got rid of satellite, and I never followed up with it.
Well, this guy was telling his life story. And it was interesting, very interesting. But that's what he started, like when he turned 18 or 17, whatever age, his older brother just rode the rails.
Yeah.
So he just went with him, and they rode the rails for like 2 years.
It's incredible. I've watched.
Like people do that. I didn't think people actually did that.
Yes, I fell down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos, and there are a bunch of YouTube videos of people that just ride trains. There's
Why though? What's
there's
the point?
Stobe the Hobo, Stobe the Hobo, and he puts up videos all the time of riding trains around. That's all they do, like as a life. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but this guy loves it. They're always very dirty though.
Yeah, well, from there, so he left there, and then he ended up going to Siberia. Well, he went to Russia initially.
This is all on train.
No. So he left there, and he went to Russia to Siberia and Russia. It's in that vicinity.
It's the same
right?
like piece of land.
Yeah. So that he went to that area to this to live with this tribe. They're basically like indigenous peoples in like Siberia, I guess.
Siberians.
And they're reindeer herders.
Okay.
So that's what they do. They herd reindeer, at least for a certain portion of the year, and then they come back and they live in town. It's a sad story. They have horrible problems with alcoholism in this community, and they're like totally discriminated against by the history of the Russian. They're oppressed peoples, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a similar to like Native American situation. But anyway, for a certain portion of the year, they go out into the wilderness with the reindeer herd. And these are domesticated reindeer that they've domesticated. And that's all they eat is reindeer, but only wild reindeer, none of the domesticated ones.
Wow.
And they ride them like horses, and they are nomadic. And so he
Holy
went and
smokes.
lived with these people, and for like years and years and years, that's where kind of he figured. I mean, there was no medical, there's no nothing.
Right.
He was talking about. I think he broke his leg once up there,
Holy smokes.
and he just laid in a tent for like a week, and they just rubbed pine sap in his
Pine sap on his
wound.
leg.
He had an open wound, like from breaking his leg somehow,
Holy cow.
and he just never got it treated.
And he's fine?
Yeah.
Like he can walk fine?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And anyway, he went on to do this Alive show, which I think was in the Canadian wilderness, but he was there for like 77 days, something like that.
On his own. That was the
Alive show.
winning. Oh.
Yeah, he won $500,000.
No kidding. I didn't think any of those shows really gave anybody
Yeah,
money.
I didn't either, but yeah, it's quite a bit. It was interesting to hear like what he picked, the items he picked. I don't remember what they all were, but he got a bow and arrows.
A flint.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know all the things he picked, but it was interesting to see what he chose and why. But there was a couple things he said he wished he wouldn't have picked because he never used them.
Really?
Yeah. I think fishing line was one of them they used. Or hooks, maybe fishing hooks,
Sure.
something like along those lines. Yeah, there was something like he never used like a net or something. I don't know. But anyway, when in this Alive show, because I think it's in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Like within the first 2 or 3 days, he shot a moose.
Really?
And
You can't fully survive off of moose meat, though.
well, that he did.
Well, I mean, you can. It'll keep you alive, but I don't... Isn't the one guy that was on Joe Rogan, too, also said, like, just eating moose meat will not give you the nutrition you need to survive?
Well, I think he might have eaten some like lichen and moss and stuff like that too.
Lichen is a huge...
And I know he caught some fish, pretty good sized fish. Not a lot.
Well,
though.
that helps, obviously.
But the moose. So the big thing he was talking about is like the meat. It's all good, but what you really want is the fat.
Eating fat.
You need to eat fat. So like he basically processed the moose right away, and he'd like take all the fat and like render it and put it in like jars.
Yeah.
And like right after he did all that, he said he had like cut off like so many, like 2 milk jugs full of fat.
Oh, my gosh.
Right. And that's what he was basically going to live on. And like the next day, a wolverine came and like ate it all and like took it.
Oh, my gosh. You can't fight a wolverine.
He did.
No
He
way.
killed it with a... Oh, no. Okay. So he then started stalking this wolverine because it would come every day and just take some of his moose.
Are they related to mink?
I don't know.
Because I need to talk to this guy.
But you can't. Like they're very dangerous. Like
Yeah, they are.
They will kill a bear.
Yes. They don't stop.
Yeah.
I mean...
They have like they're like solid muscle. But they're little.
It's like a tube of muscle.
Yeah. So he kind of stalked this thing and waited for it and tried to bait it a little bit. And ran into a bush and he shot it blind with an arrow.
With an arrow.
And he said he just immediately got up and started running towards it. And what had happened was he pinned like one of its arms against the ground with the arrow.
Yeah.
So it couldn't like move. And then he beat it to death with a hatchet.
Or you hacked it.
Hacked it. Or it was a hammer or a hatchet, something like that.
Wow. Did he eat the wolverine?
Oh, yeah, he ate that wolverine for sure.
He had to have.
But he was saying like the kidney fat is like the best part of the fat around the kidney. And that's one of the things that the wolverine stole. He was really upset about.
This is so weird. It's very similar to the guy that was on Alone.
That's the show we're talking about, Alone.
No, you said Alive.
Oh, I think it's yeah. I don't know what Alone is. So
Don't you remember the guy that was I had talked about on the
yeah,
previous
that show
podcast?
wasn't Alone. It was yeah. I watched that show, the one in the Alaskan wilderness.
Yes, we talked about
Yeah,
that
it's
guy.
not Alone, but it's something else. Yeah, I know who you're talking about though.
That one
The guy
show,
that like,
which
every
isn't
time
very
you
good.
see him is like swarmed with mosquitoes, and you're just like,
Yes.
how are you alive, dude?
And that show, and it's
His name is like Grant or something with a G.
the Alone show isn't very good, but the stories that guy had from the show were
not
great. It was a
Alone.
great like
That
story.
one's on Disney Plus. That's where I was watching it. The Alaskan one.
Yes, that's Alone. I thought it was Alone.
No.
I think it is.
Well,
But Alive, though, was a better produced show.
Life Below Zero.
Right.
That's the one you're thinking.
Yeah, that's what I said. Isn't it?
Anyway, how did we get on this tangent again? Because I was talking about something. Hobos.
Yes.
Riding the rails.
Yes, riding the rails.
Why?
That's how he
It's
started
so
it.
crazy. It's
It doesn't
it's
look-
like a mythical thing, right? Hobos.
It's not mythical.
One time I wrote and drew a comic.
About hobos?
About hobos
Why?
fighting.
Hobo fights?
Yeah. I did when I was in college. I probably have it still somewhere. It's
You need
only
to
like
you need to find that. And
it's
bring
only
it
a
in here.
couple pages.
You
but-
definitely need to find that and bring it in because I want to see this. We need to talk about it.
It was when I was in Germany because I remember at the time, for some reason, we were really obsessed with hobos. And I started writing and drawing this comic about hobos.
Okay.
Because there's lots of homeless people, hobos or whatever.
I think
This is probably
homeless
an-
and hobo is different though.
Yeah, I think it is too. I was talking about hobos. A main guy of mine had a pack stick with the handkerchief thing.
And it gave him power.
Yeah.
Like mythical power that you keep talking about because they're not mythical people. Like this is a real thing.
Yeah. No, I don't mean mythical. I mean like it's like a life of freedom, you know?
It is. It's like a chosen life.
Like
So, like-
Jack Kerouac, like On the Road. You know what I mean?
So a homeless person is homeless because of
An unfortunate event or like mental illness
yes.
or something.
I feel like a hobo is a way of life
You know
where
what?
they choose to be.
Yeah, for sure. That's
That way,
definitely
right?
the case.
Yeah.
Yes. I read a thing
And
about
by
homeless
no
people.
means are we like talking down on this. This
Yeah,
is something
that's
like
why I think we're treading on iffy territory here because I feel like we're making light of.
No, I know we're not. I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just trying to get the definition of each because I think there is a differentiation between hobo and homeless,
Yeah.
obviously. And like this guy that I was talking about on YouTube, this like Stobe the hobo, he calls himself a hobo because he chooses to
because
live
it's
on
a
the rail,
great-
and
it's a great word.
I guess it is. I know there's like a hobo stew, and that's kind of like just a hodgepodge.
When
if
we
you
were
will.
kids, that was like a really common Halloween outfit. People would dress up as hobos.
You're right.
Nobody
it is.
does that anymore.
So-
It's probably an insensitive
But
thing.
my dad has always talked about the people that rode the rail through Verona. He said he would sit up at the elevator in Verona waiting for people to come by to bale hay. Like people would literally drive through town and pick them up at the elevator to go bale hay. Just that's what they did. He said he would sit up there with multiple other kids and they would just come and pick you up and you'd go bale hay and then come back. He said he's like I never told anybody, like I didn't tell like my grandma, his mom, like I never told her what I was doing. I would just leave and I would come back at the end of the day after baling hay with random people. And he said doing that, there were times where guys would jump off the train and sit with them. And he told me a story of he shared a can of peaches with a guy that jumped off the train. He came over, had a can of peaches, opened it up, and they ate peaches together.
It's so crazy.
Isn't it weird?
The world is so different now. My dad was telling me a story the other day, and it just kind of blew my mind because when he started farming, they were still picking corn.
Right.
He did have a combine, and some of the farms he actually did the way we do it now.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of his farms were 50-50 farms, and the landlord, there was no grain bins. They had cribs.
So you
So
had to
the
pick
landlord wanted it picked. So
Yeah.
they had wire frame cribs and the old traditional crib, but
Yeah.
they also had these wire frame cribs that they filled.
which is the foundation, the concrete foundation that's out in front of my house is from one of those.
Yes. So he was telling me this story because he didn't have a picker. One of our neighbors had a picker, but he would borrow his picker, but he had bought the head. So they kind of worked together
Okay.
at it.
Yeah.
So they'd go out there and they would pick the corn and they pulled like he went out and bought 2 side dump DMI wagons, which I still have.
Wow.
Specifically for this, they bought this head, and this neighbor had the picker. So what they would do is they set up the elevator to the top of the crib to fill it. So, and the field at the time, like now a lot of our stuff is drained because my dad was a drainage contractor, but before then they weren't, and they were super, super, super muddy all the time. So it was a really rainy year or whatever. But the corn picker would go through, but they would get stuck super easily because they're toting these wagons with like regular wheels on them. So what they would do is they'd fill up a wagon. They would drop the wagon because you could apparently drop the wagon from the cab. You could
really?
let the
Just
hitch pin go.
Yeah.
So my dad would then, so the guy driving the picker they'd fill up a wagon, they'd drop the wagon. He would go forward about another 200 feet. There was a little bit that you could store inside the picker itself.
Okay.
Without shooting it into a wagon. And they would go far enough to get out of the mud hole and stop. Then my dad would come with the Massey with duals because he needed the duals to get through the mud. And he would hook onto the wagon, pull it up to the crib where he would have to stop, unhook the Massey because you can't pull up to the elevator with a side dump wagon with duals. So he would unhook that. He would go back with the 40-20, hook onto the wagon just to pull it up.
To get it to the elevator.
To dump it in the elevator. And then unhook that, move it, hook the Massey back up, take it back out to the field, and drop it. And he was telling me this story about one time, this friend of his that was running the picker, he was getting stuck, so he dropped the wagon and he pulled forward, and my dad came out, did that, hooked it up the wagon, got all the way, took it over there, unhooked it, hooked the other tractor up, pulled it up, opened the chute, there's 1 ear of corn in there.
What?
The guy in the picker was just laughing his ass off.
He did it on purpose.
Well, he had to drop it because he was going to get stuck.
Yeah. 1 ear of corn, and he had to do all that switching around for that one thing.
It's just crazy. I mean, it's not that long ago.
Yeah, really, it wasn't. I mean, my father-in-law, Gary,
it's not
he
that
talks
much
about
before I was born. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that long ago.
Right. He talks about picking corn all the time and unloading corn from that. Like I said, I've got a concrete foundation from one of the wireframe cribs that they stored ear corn in. He's like, I remember loading and unloading things right here at this, at this foundation. And it's just weird that it's just kind of so unheard of now to even do anything close to that. It just
kind of blew my mind because I was thinking about it in the context of course, I knew that my dad picked corn when he was a kid. But this is when he was an adult and farming on his own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just thought that was crazy. No, he had a combine. That's why he didn't have a picker because he had a combine.
Right.
So that's why he had to get the neighbor to do that one farm because the landlord wanted.
So what decade would this have been in?
That'd be in the 70s.
In the 70s. So
probably the mid-70s.
I mean, were a lot of people still picking corn at that time?
Yeah, quite a bit, he said. Because everybody was 50-50 with landlords back then. And
so then you have
a lot of people just had cribs.
But then you have to hire a sheller or have your own sheller, which a lot of people didn't do
that. Yeah. They'd come down and somebody would shell it. But he was telling me it was actually great because the quality of the corn was so much better. When you dried corn on the ear in cribs, it's just a better system.
Really?
Like it dries better. And then when
less breakage,
the sheller that it would come out was actually better than like even our combines now at cleaning corn and not breaking stuff as much.
Really?
Yeah. So he said it was a great way to do it. But
so the end product has less damage and whatnot.
So, or he could just be being nostalgic for it. I don't know,
that could be it too.
But it's crazy to think about. Hobos.
Yeah, that all started from Hobos. See what we do here? I have one quick thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And we've been talking about Craig quite often lately. He was the winner of Snarf Madness.
Craig Blagojevich.
Yeah.
Son of disgraced Governor Robert
Blazekowicz.
Rodert
Blazekowicz. And then there was Craig or Kurg, Blaze or Astro Crag, Super Mega Astro Crag.
Yeah, I found something interesting because Kurg and me are Facebook friends, and he was telling me about his sister, who's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, Amy.
Amy. So I did look her up.
Yes.
I actually listened to one of her podcasts, but I looked her up, and then I noticed on Facebook, because that's where I looked her up, because
Yeah.
she was on his wall, or she commented on one of his posts. That's where I saw it.
Okay.
He wrote a post how he was on Snarf Talk, and it was great, and she
Oh, yeah.
commented on it.
Oh, she did. I didn't see
and I
that.
noticed that her name was Amy Blaze.
Yes.
So she took the same not last name.
Well, everybody calls them Blaze.
I just thought that was interesting because
Why?
I thought it would, because it's like one person's nickname, but they both are using the same.
It's all of their nicknames because of their last name.
Ah, okay.
Their last name literally starts with Blaze Ekovich.
I mean, it's a good name.
It is. So everybody calls Craig Blaze, but I'm assuming that would follow the rest of them as well because they all have the same last name.
Gotcha.
So she just put Amy Blaze because it's a lot shorter than putting Blazekovich and explaining how to say it.
Well, I did listen to one of her podcast episodes, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was
is
a
pretty good.
happy corner.
The happy corner, yes.
Yeah.
THC.
Oh, he said that, but I
He
didn't
did.
get it at the time. Okay, I got it
Yeah.
now.
So anyway, about him, he sent me a text message today with a picture of Rambo First Blood, just a Blu-ray of it. And he said, since it's on Snarf Recommends or was on one of your guys' top 10s, I guess I'll finally watch it.
He never watched it before?
He has never seen Rambo First Blood.
Oh my gosh.
And I was joking around with him because he's older than me. And I said, so in your 54 years of life, you've never watched the first movie of Rambo?
It's just First Blood.
Yeah.
Not Rambo.
Well, this one actually says Rambo First
okay.
Blood on it.
They
It
probably
just,
marketed it like that.
yeah. I just couldn't believe that with as many shows as he's watched.
Especially
and-
since he was in the military, too.
Yes, he was in the Marines. He's watched a lot of things, read a lot of things. He's seen multiple Rambo movies. He told me that. But he's never seen the first one. And I thought this was a travesty. I thought it was like a national disaster.
National Lampoon's skit.
National Lampoon's Great Disaster of the Blaze.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was crazy. If I would like to hear if any of you guys have ever watched actually watched First Blood, because I personally think it's by far the best movie out of the Rambo franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Because
It's not even close. It's the only one I would consider like a real
movie. The rest of them get so
They're just
over the top
over-the-top
action.
action,
Yeah. And this one has so much heart, so much like serious
Yeah.
story to it. And like, this guy is struggling. Rambo is struggling. John Rambo has an issue, and it's PTSD.
And he is in all of the movies, but this one they put a spotlight on that.
Yeah, and but the story in general is just, I don't know. It's a lot. It's somewhat dark, but it just follows this one man that.
So what was his take on it? Did
he had literally just picked it up for $5 at Walmart. He's like, it's in the bargain bin. I guess I'll watch it since Snarf recommends. And it just went off the rails after that because I passed out after reading that. I physically passed out, and when I woke back up, I realized, holy cow, this was not a dream. This was not somebody playing a joke. This was real life, and now I'm confronted with this, and I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I had to call him. We had a bit of an intervention at his home. His dad was involved. And,
Mr. Blaze.
Yeah, Mr. Jeff Blaze. And so it ended up where he's divorced now. He's moving out, and I'm trying to get him back on his feet.
Yeah, but
But he's gonna see this movie.
he wants that hobo lifestyle, like Rambo.
He brought that up too, and he's like, "I want to ride trains."
Because kind of Rambo,
Was a hobo.
kind of.
He really was.
And
it shows him walking across a bridge like
it's
the very
kind-
first scene.
Yeah, it's kind of a theme too. He's a drifter.
Yeah. A grifter?
Drifter.
Oh, a grifter.
Trying to find his place.
He
Like
really
trying to
was,
find
yeah.
a family.
That's exactly
A
what he was
world
doing.
that will accept him.
A place that would accept him. He was like walking into a town hoping he could be accepted there
But it's a theme throughout all those movies.
Yes.
Of trying to find acceptance and reintegration.
Right. And now that's where Craig is. He's got to find acceptance now, and I don't know if I can.
A couple of years on the rails, he'll figure it out.
I think so. Living on the rails really changes you as a man.
Yeah.
You know, gives you a better perspective. That's kind of funny how that all wound back around to Hobos, because I didn't even think about it, but he really, I mean, John Rambo is a legit hobo because he's not accepted for being part of the military.
He doesn't have the stick and the handkerchief, but
he's
got
carrying
a duffel bag.
Yeah, he's carrying the military issued duffel bag.
Yeah.
I got like 10 of them in my basement. And he is absolutely a hobo at that time. It's crazy, but it is a very good movie.
Yeah.
That was my
That
story.
movie made me
Cry?
No, it made me want to carry all my stuff
In a
in a
duffel
duffel bag back and forth from like college.
Okay.
And I have one that was my dad's from when he was in the Air Force.
That's old.
Yeah. And I still have it. And so,
I tell you what, they last.
it's a great way to carry dirty laundry home.
It is, but
You
like
can put a lot of stuff in a military duffel bag.
fits a ton of stuff. The problem is
They're heavy, but
the problem with it though is that if it's not just all dirty clothes and it's things you need, you have to pack it correctly.
oh yeah.
Because if you don't, it's a nightmare to get things out of it. And then you end up dumping the whole bag on the ground and having to repack it every time.
Yeah.
Which is me, because I'm dumb.
Yeah. But
I don't know how to pack things.
But you actually had to like have function
Yeah.
because you lived out of it for years.
Right. And you do. You have to have function out of this bag.
I just carried my dirty laundry back and forth to school.
We had an actual dirty laundry bag, like a laundry bag that they issue you. And it's like a cotton sack.
Where do you wash your clothes overseas? Do they have do they have coin laundromats did they make you put coins in?
No. So
Do they have actual washing machines and dryers?
like when I was actually deployed in Iraq, there was an actual on the base, because it's a functioning
Yeah.
military base.
But do you
there
wash
was
your
an actual
own clothes,
laundry
or is
service.
there a launder?
No, there's a laundry service, and we would take those laundry bags that we have that they issue you, take them over to it's basically like a laundromat, but it's also kind of like a what's it called? When they steam and press your stuff.
Fluff and fold?
No, yeah, I guess kind of like that, but dry cleaner.
Dry cleaners.
It's like a dry cleaner and laundromat mix. So you give them your stuff, fill out a tag, like you fill out a little yellow piece of paper, and that sticks to your bag. Give it to them. Come back 1, 2, 3 days later, whatever they tell you, however busy they are. You come back and get all of your clothes, and they would literally be like vacuum sealed almost. That all of your clothes would be in one bundle, sealed up, vacuumed in like cellophane, and you'd get them back, and it was the greatest thing. They had like no smell. It wasn't like a regular, like you doing your laundry at home where they smell like detergent, or like whatever smell it is that you put in it. They were like absolutely sterile smelling. And you'd open that bag up, and it was the best thing ever. They were starched and pressed in this bag, I think just from the vacuum sealing. But if I could do that today, every day of my life, I would do that.
So do you get back your own clothes, or do you just
Yes.
get issued new?
No, it would be absolute the clothes that you brought there. I can't wear just anybody's random clothes.
Well, I didn't know if you just put your clothes in there and you just went back to like some area and you're like, okay, now I'll take my
No, like I had my own underwear that I brought from home.
Medium clothes.
No, I had like all the things that I legitimately put in that bag would come back in a vacuum sealed
That's pretty sweet.
cellophane like bag along with your laundry bag. The laundry bag would get washed as
So
well.
did you ever have to work in the laundromat?
No. That was all Iraqis and Turkish people.
Really? So, okay.
Yeah,
Did
they would be paid to work there.
I would have thought that it would have been like you got that job. That was your job. Because you probably had to like paint stuff. That was a job that you didn't have to paint anything?
No.
Don't you have to do other jobs while you're not like on a mission?
No, we had one mission, and that was to take care of our trucks.
How come
So
you
we
always
would-
see people painting stuff in movies? soldiers painting
Because that's
things.
a movie.
Like
It's not real life.
even when you're not deployed, if you're here, like in the United States on a base, do you have to paint stuff?
I'm sure they do.
My dad always told me he had to paint things a lot.
Well, I'm sure they do it like on base.
Yeah,
for
that's what I
things
mean.
they have
like
to
you're
do.
on
But
base.
but that would be more of a maintenance type job than anything else. Like if you were a cook or supply, you're not painting or anything. You're doing your job.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs are just like in the civilian side of things.
So you never had to peel potatoes?
Never. That's called KP. That's a thing though, working in the kitchen, and that's more of a like a punishment.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So you're never bad enough to be.
No, they'd
Peeled
give you a
potatoes.
duty. If you had a duty to do, you were like you'd be in trouble and you'd have to go do this like specific duty and get in trouble and do that. But
I don't know if peeling potatoes is that bad.
on
I
a
still wouldn't mind
deployment
peeling
though,
some potatoes. I always like peeling potatoes.
on a
It's kind of
deployment they don't
cathartic.
change your job. We had one job. We went and did that, and then we had to maintain our own trucks like to a certain standard. But then once it's above like operator level, then it would go to maintenance, and they would take care of the rest of it. But no, that's what we did.
You ever think about how crazy it is that like the military just like leaves stuff?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Chris, if you could see the stuff that was left behind,
It's crazy.
This
There's like
place-
whole areas that are just like it's
all of our
this
trucks,
stuff.
all of the trucks that we used, and basically everything that was on that base, like vehicle wise, was left.
Just leave it there.
It's all left there.
It's crazy.
I don't know what ever happens to it, but all of it was left there. And then when we would go out and do a recovery, we'd bring it back to like we just called it the boneyard, and bring it back to the boneyard and drop it off. It's just a big scrap yard, but this place was massive. Like it was massive. Like any scrap yard you have ever been into, like do that like 10 times over.
I don't know. Have you
it's
ever seen
just-
those airline scrap yards where they
massive.
scrap all the like passenger jets?
I mean, this boneyard had jets and helicopters and everything in it.
it's crazy.
Everything went in this boneyard on this base. It was absolutely massive, and it's unbelievable that these burnt husks of equipment were just left there. But they also had an incinerator, and they would incinerate a lot of this stuff too, which caused a lot of issues for people because they had an open burn pit on the base and this incinerator running all the time. So the pollution was just incredible.
It's insane. It's crazy.
It really is.
What you're watching, Jerry? You got anything? We don't got much time left, so
Yeah, I got a few things. Nothing big to talk about. So, real quick, we had talked about Spider-Man 2
yes.
on the last episode. And the very next day, I believe, or the day after, maybe on Saturday after we recorded that last episode, I watched Spider-Man 2 with Grady and Grant.
Oh yeah, the Tobey Maguire one.
They loved it.
It's a good movie, man.
They absolutely loved it. I loved it. I mean, Doc Ock was a decent character. But the movie as a whole, very good.
Yeah.
I wasn't thrilled about the beginning. Beginning was a little bit slow. But once you have the whole issue with Doc Ock start, after that, man, it really takes off. And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Really, because you shit on it thoroughly when I put it on my top 10 sequels
I did.
that are better than the first ones.
I did. That's why I'm coming back and telling you I was wrong.
Nice.
And I went and watched it again, and I agree with you. I think it is way better than the original.
Yeah. The originals.
I like it a lot, but
I
this
can only
one's better.
take so much freaking
Origin.
Harry Osborn, Green
yeah.
Goblin stuff.
Yeah, the Green Goblin stuff is not very good.
Yeah.
So that was good, and then I started watching. This is kind of a throwaway thing. I mean, I'll probably watch the rest of it. I really enjoy Garth Brooks. I think he's a good singer.
You mean Chris? What's his name?
Oh shit! What was his name? Yeah, when he came out as that other guy,
Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines. That was all because of a movie.
Yeah, that never came out.
It never came out. So that was a big time screw up.
Yeah,
So he filmed a movie.
but it's also something nobody wanted.
They filmed a movie. He was in it as this Chris Gaines guy. The movie ends up not coming out, and they still released the soundtrack for it,
And
which was
everybody
all
was
of his music.
really confused.
Nobody had a clue what was going on, and then he acted as Chris Gaines for a while.
Well, 'cause
he
they-
went on shows.
They kept it super secret.
Yes.
So there was like this period of time where you're like, is it Garth Brooks? Is it not Garth Brooks?
Everybody knew it was Garth Brooks.
Yeah, but
they just
it
didn't
was
know
nobody
why.
Nobody said it though. He
Yeah.
didn't say it. Like nobody said it. It's not like Garth Brooks came out and said like, "Oh, I'm playing a character of Chris Gaines now."
Right.
They just pretended like Chris Gaines was a separate person.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah,
weird.
it was like a completely different person. It's similar to our Aaron Neville episode. Everybody's like, well, why didn't we get to see Aaron Neville? Where was Aaron Neville? Well, I don't know. It was the video. Okay, that's what we had.
Yeah, well, we didn't. We did an audio only Skype.
That's what it was. So we put up a picture. That's where we got Aaron Neville. Okay?
Yeah,
He lives in L.A. He can't have him here in person.
yeah, New York.
He wasn't going
but
to
yeah.
fly. Or, yeah, that's what
Lives
I
on
said.
an organic farm.
In New York.
Did you know that?
Yeah, we talked about it.
He's an organic farmer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his wife runs most of the farming operation.
She should. He just is there to sing serenade.
They have some brands that they sell. It's called Frevel Farm.
So what's her first or last name?
They're in upstate New York. They make homegrown vegetables and fruits. It's a spiritual place.
Is it like Fresh and Neville combined?
I don't know what her name is,
Frevel?
so we should have asked him.
But yeah,
But we didn't know it at the time.
we'll ask him next time.
Yeah, we will.
He'll-
We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can get him back on here
I'm
to talk
sure-
about Frevel Farms.
I'm sure he'll come back.
Oh,
even though
Sarah Freeman.
yeah,
is her
see,
name.
it's like
And-
Snarf.
Yeah, it is. Maybe they stole it from us.
They probably did after he was on the show.
Oh man.
We'll ask him. We'll have to ask him. Anyway, so I started watching this Garth Brooks like documentary thing on Netflix that came out recently. I only saw one episode of it. I just am always very intrigued with singers, songwriters, like behind the scenes type stuff with singing. This is a more in-depth look at Garth Brooks from the beginning to the end, interviewing him. I don't know. I'll probably watch it. It's nothing spectacular. It's just I'm interested in him and his music. I've always loved Garth Brooks. I really have. I'm a country guy,
Yeah.
and a metalhead. And if there's something that mixes well with metal, it's Garth Brooks.
I think Garth Brooks is probably the first like pop country star, right?
I would say so. My dad hates his guts. He's like,
Well, 'cause
oh,
it's
he
not real
runs.
country.
He's like, he runs around and jumps on stage. That's not real country.
No, real country singers stand.
Right. That's
In
what
one
my
place.
dad told me.
That's what George Strait does. He don't move.
He
They don't move a
specifically
lick.
said, he's like, you either sit on a stool or you stand in place.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this a real argument? Because he moves around on a stage, he's not a real country singer.
Do you think he was the first? He's got to be up there. I'm sure he wasn't the first pop
No.
country, but
We're going to move on from that, though. So, yes, Garth Brooks, I'm going to continue to watch it. I'll check it out. It's nothing that anybody else should watch if you have no inclination to watch a Garth Brooks show.
I don't. So there you go.
And then the next one is it's on Amazon Prime, and it's called Homecoming.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
No, not Spider-Man. It's just called Homecoming. There's 2 different seasons of it, and I keep seeing an advertisement, an advertisement
British bastard.
for this show, and it had what is it, Melissa Monet,
Michael Caine,
something Monet.
Lisa Bonet.
No, I don't remember. But anyway, it was like this one woman like starring in it. So then I go back and I start watching the first season of it because I realized, oh, that was the second season that they're promoting. And Julia Roberts is starring in the first season. I don't think she's in the second season. So I think it's almost like a True Detective type show.
Oh, it's an anthology series.
Where
so
it's
an
different-
anthology, like
it's
like
different.
Black Mirror.
It's different people every season.
Yeah, it's centered around the mysterious Geist group.
Yeah. So the first season I started watching, and I'm kind of intrigued.
Sounds a little bit like Goop.
It's a little bit eerie.
What's the Goop lady?
What's Goop?
Uh,
The fuck? Like Goop, like the hand cleaner?
Goop, no. Goop is a company, a modern lifestyle and wellness brand that is ran by the girl who played Iron Man's
Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts. And
No,
it's crazy.
It has nothing to do with Goop.
Well, they're a wellness company.
They have a candle that smells like women's genitalia.
No, you get it made after your own. It's a candle of your own.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just like any random thing.
Goop is crazy, man.
Yes, Goop is crazy. Anyway, Homecoming. So I watched the first few episodes. Julia Roberts is amazing. She's such a good actress.
Really? I've never cared much for her.
Really? I think she's great in this
Good
show.
and Pretty Woman.
And I don't know much about her. I've seen some shows of hers, but there's nothing that's stand out by any means.
Aaron Brockovich.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Eat, Pray, Love. Wasn't she in that?
I have seen that. It was nothing that was good.
I don't know. She was in a lot of stuff, but for some reason I can't think of any of it.
I know. I'm the same way. I don't think of anything that stands out besides this show.
All right. Here are Julia Roberts movies that I've seen. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Mystic Pizza.
Don't know it.
Hook.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
The Pelican Brief.
Okay. I know that movie. I don't know if I've seen it, but I know it.
My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, yes.
Conspiracy Theory.
Okay.
Notting Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Runaway Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Brockovich.
Yes.
The Mexican.
Right.
Ocean's 11.
Of course.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. A lot of movies.
Okay, so I knew she was in Ocean's 11 because I knew she was in a movie with George Clooney
And
that
12.
I had watched.
I've seen Closer. I've seen...
I just don't feel like a lot of these movies are like, oh, Julia Roberts, wow, what a performance. You know what I mean?
No.
I really feel like
I mean, the big ones would probably
Pretty
be...
Woman is
like
the only
Eat,
one.
Pray, Love, and Notting Hill was pretty big at the time. My Best Friend's Wedding, that was a pretty big movie at the time. She was like a late 90s. She's big in the 90s.
Yeah. Isn't Pretty Woman the one with she's a escort person?
Yeah, for sure. Richard Gere.
With Richard Gere, yes.
Fresh off the heels of Excalibur. Wasn't he in Excalibur?
Sure.
Anyway,
this show seems very good. I like the way the story's going. It seems a little bit thrilling, a little bit not like a spy story, but kind of like a Clue, like a game of Clue.
I like Clue.
Yeah. And it seems intriguing. I'm going to continue to watch it, and I will give you a follow-up after I see at least the first season, because apparently the second season is going to be something different. So I think I like where they're going with this whole Amazon Prime show.
I will probably not check it out, but I'll wait for you to review it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not telling you have to.
I want to start watching High Fidelity. It's a series now. It's supposed to be really, really good.
Really?
Yeah. Based off the same book that the movie was based on, which is one of my favorite movies with John Cusack.
It is?
Yeah. I love that movie.
High Fidelity with John Cusack. I'll have to just check it out.
All right. I watched a huge movie that we need to talk about, but you haven't seen it yet, called Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Not like the best, but I liked it.
Okay.
So that was good. But the main thing, I'm still watching Rebels, man. I'm in it.
Why?
It's so good.
You've already seen all of it.
Oh, yeah, but I don't remember it. I mean, it's been years since I've seen it, and I'm rewatching it. I just finished season 2, and I started season 3. I'm about halfway through season 3 now. It's such a good show.
Yeah,
It's so much better than I remember.
I mean, I do a lot of dumb things at home that are much worse than you just watching Rebels, which include playing Farming Simulator. Just
Yeah, I don't do that.
continuously play this
I
game.
think there's enough Star Wars content out now that I can just only watch Star Wars content, and when I finish all of it, I can just start back over.
See, I've gotten to a point for some reason that I can't sit still. And just sitting watching a show is fine for some of the night, but other parts of the night, I have to be doing something. I can't sit still. I have to physically do something to feel like I'm...
Well, see,
I don't know.
I don't watch
I don't get
anything
it.
till like after 10 o'clock.
Yeah. And that's when I play Farming Simulator. And then I always stay up too late, and I'm like, man, I wake up early, and I need to go to bed.
I'm trying to make a decision right now because Marley left town today. She's out of town until Monday
Oh, really?
with the kids, so I'm home alone.
So we can record again.
I'm home alone. Probably not, but
Yeah, we can.
so I'm thinking about
Well, yeah, she went to
Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia's for lovers,
Big time. If you know them.
but I'm not there. So
Oof.
connect the dots, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I already did a long time ago, well before you.
But she's there with all 3 kids and her mom. So
Yeah. Perfect.
anyway, so I thought, I'm like, great, this is a good opportunity to play a video game. I haven't played a video game in a long
Yes.
time. I'm like, what video game should I play? I need to go buy one. I don't have any to play. And then I remembered I have the new Red Dead, is it Redemption?
2.
2.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I'll just play that. And then I remembered that I'm going to be working 16 hours a day every single day. So,
Just because of spraying?
yeah.
If it's not windy.
If it's not windy.
It's been windy.
It has been windy.
Very much so. But it did calm down a little bit later in the day today.
Yeah, and it was calm this morning, but I wasn't, I couldn't, I had to
You
get
weren't
everything
ready. You
Yeah.
were sleeping.
To get everything ready.
You're just always sleeping. I feel like.
It wasn't this morning because I got up at 4:30
Ugh.
to help Marley get the kids in the car because she left at 5.
Ugh.
And then I did not go back to sleep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Chris, that's gross. That's what I
I just sat on my phone. I'm like, oh great, it's 4:45.
should have texted me.
I'm like, I'm just gonna watch some Rebels. But the batteries died on my remote, and I was too lazy to get out of bed, so I just looked.
You just laid
I
there,
just looked on Facebook.
cried,
And
stared
went down
at the
the
ceiling.
rabbit hole of like Facebook Watch, which drives me incredibly crazy.
What's that?
Like the videos on Facebook. You know how if you open a
Never.
video on Facebook, then like it just gives you a series of videos. But the ads on Facebook videos drives me crazy.
I don't think I partake.
In the middle of every video, they stop it and play an ad.
They do?
In the middle of a video.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's terrible. But I did watch one that I shared that you should check out. It's on our Facebook page.
I watched it,
And
the
it's-
light one.
It's about how you can't perceive the color
Yellowish
yellowish blue.
It's not a real thing.
I wish that I could. I want to know what it looks like so badly.
I know. So they talk about that in the video.
And
Is
some
like
people can.
some
apparently.
people can
What?
can perceive it, and they perceive this color, and they can only describe it as yellowish blue, but nobody
Most
understands what that looks like.
Most people can't see it, perceive it, and then he goes into detail on like why you can't see it.
Right.
Because of like the cones of Dunmore and all kinds of things.
Right. I've done more.
Cells in your eyes and stuff like that.
Rods.
It's the cones, Jerry.
It's the rods and the cones.
You forgot. I love that episode. I just watched it the other day because it's the guy from Workaholics, and he's like running the tech company.
Yes.
And they lost a pitch. This is Parks and Recreation I'm talking about.
Okay.
So they lose this pitch. Ben is there, and they give this pitch. They lose. They're walking out of the office, and he looks over and notices the guy they're playing the Cones of Dunmore, the game that he created.
Yeah.
And so he goes in there. He's like, I created this game. So they're like, oh, wow. And then basically he plays this game against him to get the contract or whatever. And they play this whole game for hours and hours and hours. I don't know, like a whole day or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end, he wins. But he does it in this really dramatic way where he gives this whole speech. He's like, see, you forgot one thing about this game. It's about the cones.
So, what's that guy's name?
Oh, he's
Ben.
He's like my favorite guy.
He's very good.
No, I didn't remember his name though.
Scott something. I think it starts with an S.
Not Scott. It's definitely not. Oh,
Sean.
his last name might be Scott.
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Ben Wyatt is his name in the show.
Right, but it's Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video of him meeting
Fucking
Mark?
Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal performance on his part. Meeting Mark Hamill in real life.
No.
I think it was, I don't know if it was a late night show, Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or like Conan or something like that. And he is sitting in the chair, and he's a huge Star Wars nerd, like in real life. And the host brings up like how, you've always wanted to meet this person. You've always talked about if you met this person, you'd freak out or, have a panic attack. We're going to see if that's the case. And he all of a sudden sits up and he's like looking around, like gets really serious. And he's like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're going to bring out. And he's like, no, you're not. Are you serious? Are you bringing him out? And they did. They bring out Mark Hamill, and he sits out next to him, and he could not contain himself. He was like almost crying, almost passing out. It's a funny video to watch because of how excited he was to meet this man that he's never met before. He's pretty famous. He's been in a lot of movies, as himself, but yet has never met Mark Hamill and holds him in such high regard that it's just like his hero,
Is there any celebrity that you would do that for?
I mean, maybe for Mark Hamill.
I don't know if I would have that reaction. I mean, I would probably be cool about it. I'd be like, oh my God, you're amazing.
You think you would be cool about meeting Mark Hamill? I don't think
I
so.
would act awkwardly towards him.
I feel like we got overly excited when we had Rob Paulson sing a song for us.
Yeah, but we weren't acting like weird to him.
No, but I think we weren't acting normal.
I mean, Kevin Smith, maybe that would be,
but you've met him before.
Yeah, that's true. But just like briefly, sign a thing.
What do you think if we can interview him?
Let's reach out
on this show.
I'm sure he'd do it. He would do it.
I'm gonna reach out to him.
Okay.
On Twitter.
I don't know if I could handle it. That might be the
That's
one.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Could you do that? Could you do an interview with Kevin Smith on this show?
I would write a long intro like he always does for his guests.
We have
and then
to
force him to listen through it all.
We have to do that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing because this is all because of him.
Exactly.
This whole show. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, I've got to put that in the tweet.
Adam, maybe for our 100th episode.
Yep. I've got to remember this.
Speaking of Adam Scott, though, he's in a great show called Party Down.
That's an older show. Yeah, it is very
good. It's
from
from 2010, and it's amazing.
David Timmons told me about that show, years ago when it came out, and I remember watching it all. It's very good.
Yeah, and
it's a catering crew.
Yeah,
So
he was
good.
also in a good show a couple years ago called Ghosted. I always really liked that show.
I didn't see that.
It was him and what's the dude's name? He's in Hot Tub Time Machine. He's in The Office. Daryl from The Office.
Oh yeah, what is his name? Merv Griffin.
Yeah, Merv Griffin.
Yeah.
No, Craig Robinson.
Oh right.
And they're like he's like a paranormal. He's like a scientist and what was the guy's name? Craig Robinson is like a security guard or something like that. Anyway, they go to work for like this paranormal investigation division of like the CIA.
Okay.
And it's a comedy though. It was good, but got canceled. But
really,
yeah.
Did it come out like on primetime TV?
Yeah, it was it was on Fox, I think, in 2018, a couple years ago.
I hadn't even heard of it. Like I've never even heard of that show.
It's really good.
One season?
Maybe one or two. I think 2 seasons.
Oh, all right.
It was good. It was worth
Can
watching.
you look it up now? Like, is it on Netflix or streaming of some sort?
I don't know.
Some sort of platform? You saw every episode?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a normal one that I watched.
Why would you never have brought this up? We started this podcast
You can
in
watch
2018.
full episodes on Fox.com. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. Free,
Okay. I will watch it.
I believe. Or maybe you have to pay for it. I don't know.
All right. Well, folks,
yeah, we've reached the end of our journey.
we have.
this week.
If you have nothing else, we have reached the end.
So sad.
I was gonna try to sing a song right then, because of like coming
This
to
is
the end.
end. My friend.
No,
Not a song.
there's like a legitimate like ending song that you can sing.
What?
I don't remember. It's like from Mickey Mouse Club.
I was just thinking of The Doors. The end.
No, there's a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse song. Not Clubhouse, but shoot. I don't remember.
All
It
right.
doesn't matter.
Well, for Snarf Talk this week, I'm Chris.
I am Jerry.
See ya.
Bye.